All right, AJ and the Argos, just the start of our doubleheader coming up. We've got Trey Ford making his first start in the Labor Day Classic, taking on the Calgary Stampeders. It is the Battle of Alberta. Trey and the Elks obviously coming off that huge home victory for the first time since 2019. Can they keep the momentum going? On the flip side, for the Calgary Stampeders, they have lost 3 straight games. Can they stop this slide? It hasn't been great for them as of late. It'd be the first time since 2004 that they've lost 4 straight. If they keep it going, it's Kadeem Carey and the Calgary Stampeders. It's coming up on TSN.
Far side of the field, going back for it. Lewis, and he breaks the tackle. Eugene Lewis to the 10, and he's going to score. There, he's going to look down the field again for Michelle. He lays it, he gets it. Are you kidding me? What a play! He's in trouble. Nowhere to go. Taken down. Calgary's defense gets there. We are underway. Labor Day Classic.
The Battle of Alberta to wrap up Labor Day weekend. These two teams going in opposite directions, both desperately needing victories now, especially after watching what the Saskatchewan Roughriders did last night against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Let us start with the Canadian quarterback in Trey Ford. I mean, what a moment for all these QBs. We've been talking about it all weekend long, but you get to start in a Labor Day game, and Trey Ford coming off another excellent game. What are you expecting from him tonight, Davis Sanchez?
More of the same. I mean, look, over the last 2 weeks, Trey Ford is averaging almost 8 yards a play. That's second amongst any quarterback in the league. Remember, this is the third string guy.
Yep.
It took a lot to get him in here. He's done more than they could have hoped for in the last couple of weeks, or maybe at least not what we expected. One of the things that I take it away from his game is his drops. Now, he's not taking normal quarterback drops. He's getting depth, and by getting depth, he's buying himself space to use what is so darn special, and that's his athletic ability. The further he drops back, the more distance between defensive linemen and linebackers. And when he's doing that, it's every time I see him drop further back in the pocket, I think about the challenge it is for linebackers and defensive linemen, even DBs, to try to tackle him in space.
Yeah, I've played a few guys with a few guys, and you've seen them play. Damon Allen, Tracy Ham, Doug Flutie. I talked to Doug specifically about what you just talked about. The quicker and the longer you can get back and the further away you can get from the defensive line, the more space it gives you. Plus, Davis, it gives you more vision. And he's not the tallest of quarterbacks, but he's putting those guys in a world of hurt. And much like we see with Jake Dolegala in Saskatchewan, his football team is responding to his play. Right. Defensively, special teams. Edmonton's been better with Trey Ford on the football field.
This is going to be a test for Trey Ford. I say that because now teams have enough film on him. They say, okay, we know what we can take away. We know what he does best. So this is going to be the test. Will he be able to continue to run the ball? Will he be able to continue to make the plays with his legs? We're going to find out today. I'm excited for him. He's been irking to get this chance, and now he's got it, and I hope he can continue taking advantage of it.
You know what, too? I'm interested to see how Jake Mayer responds, too. Coming off arguably his best game of the season, he had 4 touchdowns, obviously with the loss as well. He leads the league in passing yards, but he only has 12 touchdowns, so we'll see if he can take any of that momentum, even though it was a loss, from that Argos game into the Battle of Alberta tonight. Coming up after the break, we will get you to McMahon Stadium. It is the final game of Labor Day weekend. Elks Stamps next on TSN.
It's a bit of a chilly Monday in Calgary as we get set to wrap up Labor Day weekend with a Battle of Alberta between the Stamps and Elks. Two teams heading in different directions right now. Calgary having lost 3 in a row and 5 of their last 6. On the other side, Edmonton playing their best ball of the season with their young quarterback leading the way.
Yeah, Trey Ford has led the Elks to 2 straight wins, and coming off that big game against the Ottawa Red Blacks where Ford threw for over 300 yards and a touchdown and also rushed for 74 and a touchdown, no interceptions. And big game for Jake Mayer against Toronto last week, although he didn't get the win after throwing for almost 400 yards and 4 TDs. Happens a couple of times to Jake Mayer this year.
We have mentioned that Calgary's been struggling as of late. They have, however, won 5 in a row versus their provincial rivals. So they've got that to build on in this one. Chris Jones, since having the change at OC and quarterback, the team 2-1 since then and have won 2 in a row, and looking to end this slide against Calgary. The Stampeders have won 9 of the last 10 Labor Day Classics, and we are underway at McMahon. Thank you very much for joining us. Tommy Lee Lewis takes it at the 12, brings it back up the near sideline, and eventually hammered out of bounds just shy of the Calgary 25. Let's get a look at Jake Mayer for the first time today.
Yeah, Jake Mayer, as we mentioned, coming off that big game. It was a shootout in Toronto, 39-31 loss for Calgary. They've been real close in a lot of their games, especially at home this year. He's thrown 12 TDs, 12 interceptions. Leads the league in passing yards coming into the week. So he's had those big games. And he got the deep ball going last week, too. That should help Calgary if they can carry that over into this one.
Yeah, season high, 10 passes of 20 yards or deeper in that ball game. They'll start this one on the ground. Kadeem Carey gets the first carry of the game. Back to the line of scrimmage and not much further.
Bryce Bell's still down at left tackle in the Calgary offensive line, so Brandon Weldon will play that left tackle spot. He is out of Sacramento State, 6'2", 306, and Kadeem Carey back in the lineup. Tommy Lee Lewis is as well, and he'll rotate through the group, but Kadeem Carey starting at tailback. Missed last week.
Talked about Tommy Lee Lewis on a call with the coach this week, saying, want to kind of keep him fresh for the return game. He's a guy you'd like to mix in. 2nd and 9. Flags here. Jake Mayer over the middle, down the field. He's got a man all the way to the 45, staying on his feet. Mark and Michelle finally taken down. A big strike for the Stampeders early at home.
Football awareness for Jake Mayer to understand that he's got a free play. The Elks are offside here. So it's offside, but they're not going to call it.
Edmonton number 99. The play results in a first down. Penalties declined.
You heard it. It'll be declined because Mark and Michelle went on the post. He was well covered through the post, and there was a safety hanging around there too, but Jake Mayer could take a chance with the free play.
52 yards to Michelle to start this football game for Calgary. Had a 65-yarder last week and has really provided Calgary with a true deep threat since rejoining the club this season. 1st and 10 for the Stampeders from the Edmonton 33. Handed off again. Some room to run this time. And pushing ahead. What a carry in the early going here as they try to establish some presence on the ground. Let's take a look at this Elks defense.
Up front, A.C. Leonard leads them in sacks with 9. He's second to Matthew Betts of the BC Lions on the sack total list. There's the leading tackler, Niles Morgan, at the middle linebacker spot. And Mark McLaren will play at that Sam position. Ed Gainey's played in 10 Labor Day games on 3 different teams. Hamilton, Saskatchewan, and Edmonton.
A true veteran of the moment. Back to the ground and a first down for Calgary. 5 more yards for Kadeem Carey. And now Dedrick Mills will check into the game.
But with the 2-game win streak for the Edmonton Elks and Calgary struggling with 3 games they've lost in a row, you're now looking at the Edmonton Elks getting back into the playoff picture with a win here tonight. Change the whole dynamic of this Labor Day Classic.
First trip to the red zone today. Empty backfield for Mayer. Over the middle, has a completion, Reggie Begelton, and he's wrapped up shortly after the catch. Just a huge game last week for 84.
Yeah, he certainly did. 200 yards plus his first 200-yard game of his career for Reggie Begelton. Again, in a loss, which the numbers that they put on the board offensively.
2nd and 2, and it looks like more flags here against Edmonton.
See Coney Ely slap his teammate, just said, hey, come on now. I know they're fired up on Labor Day.
You got to reel in those emotions, don't you? That's Cole Nelson.
Offside.
I think he moved earlier
Edmonton,
as well.
number 94. 5-yard penalty. Big set of first down.
Former first-round pick out of the University of Alberta. Calgary marching here on the opening drive. A big chunk to Mark and Michelle really set the stage. Now Nelson will slide back in here. Got the two-headed monster at running back for Calgary. Mills is checked into the game for now after some fine work from Kadeem Carey earlier on. First and goal for Calgary from the Edmonton 7. Mayer waits, near side, end zone broken up. Almost caught at the end of that play, looking for Begelton, but Darius Bratton was there defensively.
Yeah, good timing by Bratton on the close here to get to the outside shoulder of Begelton and just give him that little push from behind as the ball was hitting his hands. All about timing here. If he's a little early, this is pass interference. But he gets the left hand out without turning Begelton. Great defense. It did almost bounce right back to him.
It came right kind of down to him. He's laying there. I think he was a little surprised. Second crack at it from the 7 for the Stampeders. Mayer in the pocket, looking towards the corner, almost intercepted there. Kai Gray would likely want another crack at that one. In and out of his hands, and Calgary will have to settle for a field goal.
Davis Sanchez did this in his career a ton. He's sitting at the corner spot. That's Kai Gray there, and his guy is on a shallow route trying to hold him there, and he just falls off of his guy and falls underneath that deep out route. Davis Sanchez used to be the king of that.
Of missing interceptions?
No, I'm sorry. He'd catch them, but just to fall underneath those routes.
I think I knew
let me
what you
be
were talking
clear.
about. I was going to say.
Let me be clear. Be angry with me on that.
Paredes gets Calgary on the board. They were hoping for more. Edmonton almost a chance to take that ball away. Home side on topper. Welcome back to McMahon Stadium, where the Calgary Stampeders are in their black jerseys today, and it's worked pretty well, hasn't it?
Yeah, 15-3 when they wear the blacks, and you can see they're putting some points on the board too. But that drive sort of typical of their season so far this year, where they moved the ball very nicely, a deep ball that Jake Mayer was throwing last week as well, and then had to settle for a field goal.
62nd Labor Day Classic between these two clubs. The record 30-30 and a tie. They'll get it to Kyron Moore to start this ball game, and a nice burst on the far side of the field. Almost picked up a first down.
Former U Sport All-Canadian out of Waterloo and the Warriors. Trey Ford, 2-1 on the season, completing 77% of his passes with 4 touchdowns and an interception. And his run game, as impressive. Great speed to the edges. When he was in the combine, he ran a 4.4.
It's pretty fast for a quarterback.
Well, for NFL, even in his NFL scouts, when they timed him, that 4.4 was the best of any draft-eligible quarterback in the National Football League.
He's got 20 carries on the year for 184 yards and 2 touchdowns, making its 4th consecutive start. Titus Wall is down on the field for the Calgary Stampeders, and as they take a look at him, we'll step away. Well, let's take a quick look back here with Trey Ford at quarterback. Edmonton finally found a way to win a game at home.
And we talk about his athleticism and how quick he is. He's a good example there of him taking off and running, but he has done a nice job in his starts of recognizing coverage, picking up blitzes, finding the hot receiver. Told us this week he's a passer first, but he won't hesitate to take off and run.
Cornelius into the game. Short yardage, trying to push ahead, needed to get to the 50, and he has more than enough first down. Let's take a look at this Edmonton offense.
One change up front. David Foucault is down. Josiah St. John off the injured list just in time to fill that spot. So he will take over at left guard. And Eugene Lewis, start number 3 since returning from injuries, making a big impact. Obviously, one of the top receivers in the league. And Kevin Brown has been better with Trey Ford as the starter, even though Taylor Cornelius can run as well. It's been a better run game with Kevin Brown since Ford's been in there.
They give it to Brown here, straight up the middle, runs into a wall of Stampeders and takes a loss of a yard against his Calgary defense.
Yeah, Terrell McLean will play at the interior spot, so they'll bump Mike Rose out to defensive end. In the middle, Micah Awe on pace for a big season. 127 tackles is his pace at middle linebacker. He leads the Canadian Football League, and they get Jonathan Moxey back at the corner spot. He'll play beside Shaq Richardson this last week.
2nd and 11 for Trey Ford. Getting his first taste of a Labor Day Classic. Ford in the pocket. Escapes now on the run. Calgary trying to contain him, but they can't. Ford still going, and finally they push him out of bounds. Went a long way to pick up 3 yards, but a nice job by the Stampeders to keep him in check.
Yeah, they are going to have to be very conscious of that. And you know, I think it was Milt that said it on the panel before the game, that they've got more game film on him now. He's got 3 starts, so they're going to stay cautious, stay contained. You see Cam Judge just trying to turn him into teammates. Calgary never tackled him on that play, but held him to just a 2-yard gain.
It was Roberson who finally forced him out of bounds. And now punted away by Julian. Lewis waits for it. Bounces over his head and stays right there. Perfect kick. 53-yarder. Dropped inside the 5. And Calgary will be backed up. They get the ball for the 2nd time today. Reggie Begelton coming off his best game in the Canadian Football League.
2 yards.
Well, we had mentioned it earlier. Reggie Begelton coming in off just a monstrous game. 203 yards, a couple of touchdowns on 13 catches. For more on that performance, let's send it down to Claire Hanna.
Yeah, Dustin, and Reggie had come close to 200 yards before. He had 193 in college, 173 in the CFL. When I asked him about it, he said that earlier this season, he had a change in attitude towards life. Back in week 2 against Ottawa, he took a big hit. He played through the pain. He thought he might have had a cracked rib, and he flew back to Calgary. But it was during a training session back here at McMahon that he felt his lung was squeezing and tightening. Now, upon further review, he found out that he had punctured his lung, and it was partially collapsed. Well, he went to the hospital to get a procedure to re-inflate it, and that's when he met somebody at the hospital who had been in a huge car accident. He was in a full body cast. Reggie was sharing a room with him. He heard him screaming every time he moved, and Reggie Begelton told me that it changed his perspective on life. At that point, every routine seemed mundane, but this gave him a perspective that life is a privilege, and he had a humbling experience that really changed things today.
A real wake-up call. Stiff arm, get out of my way. Kadeem Carey's got a first down.
Well, Begelton's one of the leaders, and if they can get Kadeem Carey going, they got a good chance of winning this football game, because Kadeem Carey just hasn't had a lot of reps this year due to injury. But look at that stiff arm in the open field.
Marlon Franklin getting tossed aside. Kadeem Carey putting together a nice start to this ball game. 1st and 10, Calgary from their own 33. Far side, wide open, completion for another first down. Back to Kadeem Carey again. On the ground and now through the air for 22 more.
Nice adjustment by Carey there. That was a heater coming out of the hand of Jake Mayer, and just out in the flat. Tailbacks sometimes struggle with this kind of catch. Watch him turn his body back inside and then back towards the upfield kind of turn. Make that adjustment, made the catch, and picked up yards after.
This is just the 4th game of the season for Kadeen Carey. Watching now, Diedrich Mills back into the game. 1st and 10, midfield for Calgary with a 3-0 lead. There, in trouble, throws the ball away as he was being taken down. It's blown dead. Serezna was there to get him. And Jake Mayer tried to get rid of that football.
Well, you can throw it underhand as long as it's forward. It's considered a forward pass, so it would be considered incomplete. Serezna's up at the top of the line here. 4-man pressure up front. That's what Edmonton has done so far in this game, the first 2 series, but that is still considered a forward pass. So it's incomplete, and because it's behind the line of scrimmage, it's got to have someone.
Intentional grounding, Calgary, number 12.
If it's behind the line of scrimmage, it's going to say it has to have a player near it. If it's not, it's intentional grounding. If it's across the line of scrimmage, there doesn't need to be a receiver in the area.
So this actually hurts them more than having just taken the sack.
Yeah, exactly.
And now it'll be 2nd.
But it wasn't a fumble because Edmonton scooped it up like they thought it was a fumble.
2nd and 19. Now from the Calgary 46. There has a completion at the 50. Back to midfield, but not much further. As for the first time today, he gets it to Cole Tucker, the rookie. And that'll bring up 3rd and 10, and they'll be forced to kick it away. From midfield, Cody Grace out, averaging just over 48 yards per punt this season. CJ Sims with a unique look, wearing the yellow under the white jersey. Edmonton has not had a return for a touchdown in about 8 years. This one, a high kick, bounces at the 4 and into the end zone. Sims waits, 65-yard kick, and
Good
Sims
decision.
will take a knee.
Yep.
Trey Ford will get the ball when we return.
I'm Trey Ford, quarterback for the Edmonton Elks.
Ford wants to take off, and he will. Trey Ford looking for the end zone. Touchdown! He's got it. Trey Ford gets home.
And you're watching the Labor Day Classic on TSN.
Trey Ford, 83.3% in that win over Ottawa. One of the most accurate games from a quarterback this season.
Yeah, I mentioned on that last series, he considers himself a passer first and, won't hesitate to run, uses his legs a ton, understands that, but very comfortable throwing from the pocket and completion percentage outstanding.
On the run here, that one up for grabs and knocked away defensively there by Kyron Moore, saving a possible interception.
Yeah, it was. This was Jonathan Moxey, and he's back in the lineup reading routes here. This is just reading the route of Kyron Moore coming into that little hook spot. Moxey thought he was interfered with.
Second and 10. Ford, the 8th overall pick in the 2022 CFL draft, takes the ball, hands it off to Brown. Brown with some blocking, only up to the 45 and no further. 6 yards will not be enough, and Edmonton will be forced to kick this away once again. A bit of a similar feel to that game we had yesterday. Slower start offensively in the first quarter, and then things really firing up after that.
Guys like Tommy Lee Lewis might just break that wide open. These slow starts. Dave Dickinson telling us really well suited for this game, for the Canadian Football League.
Julian Waits takes it cleanly and just gets it away. Towering kick. 52-yarder. Lewis just outside the 10, trying to stretch it to the near side of the field. but he can't do it. Huge game here between Edmonton and Calgary. For more on the intensity, let's listen to Reggie Begelton.
We are going into the mindset that this particular team is the best team in the league. We have to, because for one, it's make it or break it, and for them, they have some momentum, and they want to prove to the league that they're here to stay too, and they're here to be reckoned with. But we want to knock them down. This is the Battle of Alberta, so naturally, the intensity is going to be there.
Oh yeah. If Edmonton wins this game, they jump Calgary in the standings. I know it's not a battle for first in the West, but this is a big game for both of these clubs.
Well, and Hamilton losing earlier tonight. Looking at that for a playoff picture too, and the possible crossover.
Back to Begelton, second catch of the ball game for him.
Yeah, we had a great talk on during the week with Reggie Begelton, and our producer John Hines said, you know, Reggie's kind of like the professor. If he was going to teach a receiver class, we put Reggie Begelton in front of the class, and it's bang on, because he's philosophical, as Claire talked about, has great perspective on life and football, understands the game, and you know, just the nuance of Canadian football.
Multiple flags here.
Procedure
against Calgary.
Calgary, number 67. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Zach Williams, his fourth season out of the University of Manitoba.
Elks were showing some pressure there. They had Konar up at the line of scrimmage. He was jumping around and seeing a couple offsides, and now a procedure by Calgary. These guys are a little intense. They're fast twitch going.
Second and 9 now for Calgary on their own 13. Mayer pressured again, and he'll be taken down inside the 5. Noah Curtis, second career sack.
Nothing really fancy from the Elks in this defense. It's just straight 4-man pressure against 6 blockers. But the way they staggered themselves in that pressure, you saw A.C. Leonard getting pushed up the field, and that flushed Jake Mayer in a certain direction, and Noah Curtis just came from the backside.
I asked Chris Jones about Curtis this week.
Yeah.
Because he was drafted 28th overall from a university that has never had a player drafted in any league, Kaiser. And Chris Jones said to Coach Coleman on there, say, I got this Canadian kid you got to take a look at. And obviously they like him. He started a few games for them, and now excellent field position for Edmonton, as this return is just shy of the Calgary 40.
I'll just go back to last night. What a great game last night, but just some news update for what happened in the game. Pete Robertson with that hit after the play, the headbutt on Zach Collaros. Pete Robertson has been suspended for a game. And we'll see what the Players Association says from here, but it was the right call and the right decision by the league. Well after the play, and want to protect the players, and so does the PA.
Here goes Trey Ford. What a move down to the 15. One man to beat Ford. Looking for the end zone. Pushed out of bounds. Up and over at the end of a spectacular run by the young quarterback. 40 yards for Ford.
Well, he's going to find the hole off the right side, almost a quarterback draw. There's Cam Judge, and Cam Judge is a linebacker quick. He's very quick and good tackler in the open field. He goes upfield so far to try and contain him that Trey Ford sees the inside lane and takes off. And look at that speed, outrunning angles.
Touchdown saving push there from Kobe Williams.
It's over. How about that? Little athleticism up over the billboard.
Cornelius into the game. First and goal from the Calgary 2. Edmonton looking to take the lead. Cornelius pushing ahead, lunging towards the end zone. And he is stopped short on the first crack at it.
Is that Alway? I think Micah Alway got to him. Tried to go off the left side of the O-line, and Alway caught him and twisted him around. Alway's going to shoot the gap here. Watch him get that hit, 57 over the top right there, twists him around, almost pulled the ball out.
They did get a yard, so they'll try it again. 2nd and goal from the 1. Can Cornelius finish this time? Pushing straight up the middle, and he's in. Touchdown, Edmonton. Taylor Cornelius finishes off what Trey Ford started.
Please over. Hey, easy up, guys. We're good here. Easy up. Good job. Easy up. Go! Hey, Tyler, push it.
Be a little extra stuff on Labor Day. The Battle of Alberta at the bottom of that pile. I think that's what they were discussing after this touchdown. But what a run by Trey Ford to set it up and get it down on the goal line. Giving us a little bit of example of his tremendous speed in the open field. But just the puzzle that the Calgary Stampeders are going to have to figure out. How committed are they to get after Trey Ford? They can't get too far up the field on him. Got to be sound and maybe even spy him with Cam Judge. They've done that before against Ottawa.
One more hammered home, and Edmonton goes on top. 7 to 4. 3-play, 42-yard drive. 40 of them coming right here.
There's a couple of cuts right there. Michael Holloway, one of the best tacklers in the league this year, if not the best. He made him miss.
Well, just when you think you might be doing an okay job on him, find a little bit of space and go around Judge and Holloway to do what he did. It makes it even more impressive.
That might be the best part. You make a big play and you go right over to your bench and you get to talk about it with your teammates. Did you see me? Did you see what I did with the shake and bake there? Now they can watch it on the tablet as well. Back in the day, we could just, we could elaborate on the play.
Yeah.
Do you remember? I jumped over 4 guys.
Nobody remembers, Glenn. Is it on a tablet somewhere? Not the case. Calgary trailing for the first time today. This will bounce at the 22. Picked up on the run by Tommy Lee Lewis. Lewis with a burst down the far sideline. Nice return to put Calgary in excellent field position, and it seems like it's just a matter of time until number 7 finally breaks one.
Yeah, I thought it was an interesting conversation we had with Dave Dickinson about Tommy Lee Lewis and just how he's got to try and balance. There's, with our game and a third of the game being special teams, and it's so important, this field position. Seen games won and lost because of return field position, so he doesn't want to take away from that. But man, he'd love to see number 7 on offense, as you mentioned earlier.
He had that one game where he had to start on short notice, and he double-digit targets and made a pretty big impact in that one. There, out into the flat for Begelton. Nice tackle from the rookie Kai Gray to wrap him up.
So the professor gets a 200-yard game, and as Claire mentioned, it was his first in football. Again, with as good as he is, I was a little surprised. Although he's, these guys, they don't count him unless you get to 200. So he's had a 194 or 160, those guys. Yeah. Kenny Lawler with one as well this year. 203 tops for any receiver in the Canadian Football League so far.
2nd and 8. 4-man rush. Mayer has one deflected at the line, and that falls incomplete. And that is going to do it for the first quarter. The visitors having won 2 in a row, leading 7 to 4. They've lost 9 of the last 10 Labor Day Classics, but Edmonton looking to change that here this afternoon. Welcome back to McMahon. Calgary trailing Edmonton 7-4 after the first quarter. What stands out there for you, Glenn?
Well, the 40-yard run from Trey Ford. To me, we're going to watch in this second quarter. Just I will try and point out what Calgary does defensively to try and contain Trey Ford and him running of the football. You go back to that game they played against Ottawa, and Dustin Crum was coming off a big run game, and they mirrored him with Cam Judge. basically playing a spy technique with Cam Judge. I'm going to see if they're going to try to do that with Trey Ford. Although he is so fast, Ford, they might need to do more. Maybe spy him with 2 guys. That opens up a couple of zones. We'll watch what they do in the second quarter here.
Well, yeah, because we've seen a couple of times now where, you know, with Ford, once teams start to panic a bit, it opens things up for Gino Lewis and Manny Arsenault and others over the middle of the field. Sims waits, takes it cleanly at the 12. CJ Sims back out, still going, lunges ahead, just shy of the 30 after a 43-yard kick from Cody Grace, just shy of his average on the season.
Now he can throw from the pocket too, and you look at that 317 yards last week for Trey Ford. Puts him in pretty good company with Canadian quarterbacks Nathan Warwick last year, Russ Jackson back in '68, Jerry Tilio in '82, including the rush yards. His quarterback rating. Now, quarterback rating takes into account a whole bunch of stats, and it's a mathematical formula that I still don't understand. But
nobody does.
He was tops. Like, he maxed out at 158, a perfect quarterback rating last week.
Ford flushed out of the pocket again on the run. And close to a first down. A couple of Stampeders with a crack at him, but they couldn't track him down.
Yeah, I mean, and you can spy with them. And Micah Alway's back here. He's going to the running back first, and he's gonna get in chase across the field to try and catch up with Trey Ford. No spy technique there. But I mentioned that Kevin Brown has, and the run game to the tailback for Edmonton has improved since Trey Ford's been in the lineup, simply because you got to protect the edges. Opens up the gaps in the middle.
Just inches needed here. Cornelius will get it.
Last week for Kevin Brown, 14 of 68 for about a 5-yard average. But look at the average for Kevin Brown since he's been playing with Trey Ford and that great speed to the outside. His average has gone way up. The numbers have gone up. His totals and carries have gone up as well. So they're using him more.
Changed with the offensive coordinator at that same time, right? So a completely different look, different guy calling the plays and a different quarterback executing them. Brown will watch on here. Empty backfield for Ford. 3 to the right, 3 to the left. 1st and 10 from the Edmonton 40. Now Shannon Brooks, the backup running back, will slide back in there for protection. Ford wants to go down the field. Ball pops loose. Still laying there. Edmonton recovers. Pressure from behind on Ford, knocking it out. Martez Ivy saving the day.
Take a look, and I think there was a bit of a stunt here, and from the backside, I think it was a fumble.
Kobe Williams, right there.
Going with some pressure, yeah, knocked it right out of his hands from behind. Trey Ford didn't see him.
A loss of 6. 2nd and 16 for Ford. 3-man pressure this time. Dumps it off to Brooks. Brooks looking for some blocking. Stays on his feet. Got back about 7 or 8. And once again, Edmonton will be forced to kick this away with almost 3 minutes gone in the quarter.
So that fumble, Kobe Williams was on the line of scrimmage. Cam Judge was on the line of scrimmage. So don't be surprised at all because of the success of that defensive play to see Calgary go with more of those pressure packages. A little exotic blitz going on there.
You gotta use the step. Here we go. Stay locked in.
Julian stands just inside his own 30. Lewis takes it after a 47-yard boot. Looking for some blocking now. Tommy Lee Lewis trying to get set free. And he is down to the 50. Lewis avoids the kicker along the sideline and eventually pushed out of bounds. Tommy Lee Lewis almost had it. Huge return. We said he's dangerous. Didn't need much space to get going here. Tanner Green, right there, saved the touchdown.
Boy, Jake Julian gave Tommy Lee Lewis a chance to make that big return. Kick not where he wanted to put it.
Now Mayer dumps it off to his running back. Coming ahead, Kadeem Carey down to the 20, and eventually tackled from behind by Konar. 14-yard pickup for Kadeem.
He looks right again. When he came back a couple of weeks ago, still didn't quite look right, but Kadeem Carey's got that burst again. And he's playing physical. Looking for contact, searching it out down the field.
Jake Mayer 7 of 10 for 99 yards. Second trip to the red zone today for Calgary. Had to settle for a field goal last time. Mayer, pressure coming, trying to get away, but he can't. Once again, Edmonton gets him. A.C. Leonard and Serezna team up on that one. Boy, Leonard right off the edge there. Straight at him.
Yeah, again, four-man pressure and collapsing it. Remember, that's Brandon Weldon playing a rookie. Just gets his eyes down and off balance, and around the corner goes A.C. Leonard. Serezna meets him there.
Goes to Leonard. That's his 10th sack of the season. Backed him up 7. 2nd and 17 for Jake Mayer. 3 options to his wide side left. Looks to the right to start. Throws to the right. Has a completion. Now that'll be short of what they needed. First catch of the game for Markeith Ambles, who had 4 last week against Toronto. And Calgary will have to settle for another field goal attempt.
Yeah, that's you consider that a win for the Elks when they give up the big return after a kick goes a little sideways. Tommy Lee Lewis with the big return, and just to settle for a field goal, that's a win for the Elks.
Paredes 1 for 1 today. Give him 2 for 2 as he knocks another one home, and the Labor Day Classic is deadlocked at 7. First taste of the Labor Day Classic for Gino Lewis. For more on that, let's send it down to Claire Hanna.
Yeah, Dustin, and you said it. Gino Lewis told me that today is a totally new experience for himself because despite playing in the league for 6 years, it's his first Labor Day Classic. And he said he wasn't sure how he was going to prepare, but he wanted to become emotionally invested in this historic rivalry. And he said one thing he's really drawing on is his experience when he played with Oklahoma in the Red River rivalry against Texas. The noise, the crowd, but the hate that each fan base felt for the other team, that's what he's expecting today against the Stamps, and he's been looking to his teammate Tanner Green, who's got a lot of history with the Elks, because he really just wants to feel the fire of this rivalry, you guys.
They got involved there for 10 yards.
Absolutely, a nice little out route for Gino Lewis. You know, it was a great discussion we had with him about these rivalry games and how there's just a little bit extra in them. And you know, he said about his team, though, and this is his start number 3 coming off the injured list for Lewis. Talking about his team, and I love the way he said it. He said, he got a little juice now. He got a little juice going.
1st and 10 from the 50. Ford with time down the field looking for Lewis. And Gino could not get there, falls well incomplete.
Yeah, Moxie covered that down very well. Show you the arm strength of Trey Ford, but, oh, excuse me, it was Roberson with the great coverage, just locking it down. Nowhere for Gino Lewis to go. Former nominee, outstanding rookie, former outstanding D nominee, Trey Roberson.
Certainly capable of locking somebody down. 2nd and 10 for Ford. escapes this time on the run, trying to look to the far side, and he'll be forced out right at midfield after a pickup of about 5. Shaq Richardson pushing him out of bounds, and Julian will come out and kick it away to Tommy Lee Lewis, who has had a couple of pretty spectacular returns already here tonight.
Yeah, when you have 2 guys for Edmonton up high to the right of the formation, that's where you want the kicker to put it between the numbers and the sideline. There's the 2 guys for the Elks up here. They want to put it way into that corner. Last time they didn't, and Tommy Lee Lewis got to the wide field. Better kick here.
The deep one, and that one will bounce all the way through the end zone. 76-yard boot from Julian. Jake Mayer, and a tight one with Edmonton. Military Appreciation Night at McMahon, and extremely well done as always, Glenn.
Yeah, absolutely. And I always, when I'm in Alberta, want to say a special hello to the 417, 419 squadron up in Cold Lake, Alberta. I had the great honor of being an honorary colonel for the 417 Rescue Squadron, and got a chance to be up close and personal and talk to a lot of the men and women in the armed forces, and they're the best of the best, I'm telling you.
We were hoping to have some CF-18 Hornets today fly over prior to the game, but the weather not agreeing with that situation. Penalty, an unnecessary roughness against Jonathan Moxey after the kick. That's why Calgary is starting where they are starting from, with 7.5 to play in the opening half, and Edmonton on top by 1.
I was going to say the last series from Trey Ford did flop the field position, even though they had to punt, and then that penalty by Moxey now puts Jake Mayer back in, you know, his own end. When they had, after the Lewis return, they had the field position advantage, got the field goal out of it.
122 yards through the air already for Mayer today. Looks to his right, it's going to be flushed out of the pocket, running backwards, throws it over the top, and that one intercepted just outside the 40. It's Lewis, stays on his feet, now tripped up. Marcus Lewis, his 3rd interception of the season, puts Edmonton in business midway through the quarter.
Boy, a lot of white jerseys in that area, and this was Jake Mayer escaping the pocket to his right, 3-man pressure, so there's all the coverage is back there for Edmonton, and look at all the white jerseys surrounding Mayer's target. Bit of an overthrow, and Lewis is there.
It is a young secondary. Lewis in just his 2nd season in the league, comes up big there. 1st and 10 now for Edmonton from the Calgary 49. They'll give it to Brown, and Brown with his best carry of the game. That'll go for a 1st down for Kevin Brown. 13 yards.
This is what I'm talking about. When you have this threat outside, then these gaps in the middle here become bigger, and because you got to widen to take care of number 2. And then if you come down, it gives the cutback angle to Kevin Brown.
Fresh set of downs from the Calgary 35. Stamps are going to bring some pressure. Ford gets it away, but it will fall incomplete. Mitchell went one way, Ford through the other.
Exactly. That's exactly what you saw there. Is Dylan Mitchell didn't see the hot route. He didn't see the blitz. And Trey Ford threw it to a quick slant, or the hot route over the middle. The easy throw against the blitz, because the linebackers are coming, so you want to go right where they vacate. And he went on and out. Ball bounces off the turf.
4 options. Top of your screen, wide side right for Ford. Calgary's going to bring some pressure again. Ford gets it away just in time, was looking for Dunbar, but it falls incomplete over his head. And the Stampeders trying to dial things up a little bit here defensively.
Yeah, you know, when you think about this is the target here. It's Dunbar at the big game against his former team on that dig route, well covered. You know, I mentioned a couple series ago that Calgary would probably go back to that blitz look because they have had success against Trey Ford in this offense here tonight. They're going to keep doing it until Edmonton figures out the hot routes.
42-yard attempt for Faithful. His long on the year is 45. He's 3 for 5 from outside 40. And this one is up. And he sneaks it through. There's flags on the play. Edmonton's offense is coming back out onto the field here. A flag against Calgary.
Chris Jones getting the explanation, so it's against Calgary.
Pyramiding. Calgary number 41. 10-yard penalty. Makes it a first down.
Mike Rose gets called. Dickinson clearly not happy. And a first down for Edmonton, and this drive stays alive.
Yeah, you can't use a teammate to try and get up and block a kick. Take a look and see if we see it. Right in the middle here.
A work from the 25. Handing it off to Brown. Pretty good pickup on first down. Calgary will eventually toss him to the turf after a 7-yard pickup.
I can show you that pyramid call again. It's Mike Rose in there. I know Calgary fans are wondering, you know, what happened there, because they were off the field with just a field goal. You can't use a teammate or the opposition
to launch
up pyramid off top of them. It's a player safety issue. So the right call by the official.
Second trip to the red zone today for Edmonton. Fewest trips to the red zone of any team so far this season. 2nd and 3. They'll give it to Brown again, and he is stopped in his tracks. Somehow kept going before this thing was whistled down, and he's going to be just shy of a first down.
Yeah, a little bit of extra effort there, a little bit of push. Chris Jones hustling down to take a good hard look at exactly how close they are.
That changes things.
Absolutely.
With that extra effort.
Yeah, no question. I mean, he was going to be 2, maybe 3 yards short after running into his own guy. I think that was Manny Arsenault. And then this extra effort balanced with the right hand, another 2 yards to make it close. And they'll go short yardage. Or are they going to kick the field goal?
They're going to kick it.
A little surprised by that. They're a yard away.
3rd and a long yard. It's like in between 1 and 2.
He wants to. Chris Jones wants to. He wants to go for it, but
Faithful back out. A little bit less work than the last one. 24 yards straight away. And he makes no mistake there, so Edmonton will settle for the 3, and they lead 11-7. Surprised they settled for that field goal?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah,
I am. The second effort from Kevin Brown to get it to a yard. But you're right, though. I think when Chris Jones went down and took a look right down the line, he saw that it was more than a yard.
Yard and a half.
And that's, you know, you got to respect the opponent too. And you got Mike Galway back there. They stopped him on the 1-yard line once, scored on the 2nd down. May have factored into the decision and take the points in the Labor Day Classic and the lead.
Jake Mayer works from his own 40 here. He'll hand it off. Oh man, Serezna found Kadeem Carey just waiting for something to open up, and Serezna finished him off.
Yeah, Kadeem Carey was caught in traffic here. He's caught in traffic. He's trying to find a place to go, and Serezna says, you better hurry up. Wow.
Jake Serezna all over Kadeem Carey there. Edmonton leads as we head inside 3 minutes.
Panel coming to you live from Tim Hortons Field at halftime. All quiet now, but it was rocking just a couple of hours ago. We're going to break down Trey Ford's first half, Tommy Lee Lewis. Matt, did you get through that piece of pizza? Ready to go. Oh, and Lapo's here too. I think he's going to talk a little Jake Mayer. Hi, Lapo.
Sounds like a pretty jam-packed halftime coming up. And this play will not get off. Flags as that ball is snapped. Procedure against Calgary.
I loved when Matt Dunnigan was up in the booth and doing a Trey Ford game and said, you know, when you're young, you run until you figure it out. Yeah, he did a lot of that in his young days too.
He talked to Jake Mayer if he had advice for Trey Ford this week, as a guy who's sort of still establishing himself, and he said, just be yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Just be yourself. And I think both of these guys have settled in to play their own game here in the Canadian Football League. 2nd and 15 for Mayer. Trips over to the right. Ball popped out, and Mayer is able to get back on it just in time. Coney Ely was right there.
Calgary fans are getting on this offense a little bit.
Boo birds at McMahon.
Yeah, coming on the heels of the interception, and then I think it was Serezna got his hand on that one, knocked it out, but Jake Mayer recovered, at least let his punt team get out there, get that field position. Now we understand that Tim Croker, the head referee, is getting examined by doctors right now. We hope he is okay.
Sims takes this just inside the 30, stumbles back ahead, just shy of the 40. So Tim Croker was mic'd up. So on penalties, we may not hear the announcement. And they are continuing to look at Tim. Hopefully everything will be okay.
Got to brush up on our signals again. Hopefully Tim is okay, but
hopefully.
Not sure what the issue is for him.
First and 10 for Ford from his own 38 after the return from Sims. Ford pitches his out to Brown. Brown, heavy collision. Oh boy, that's a big time pop on Kevin Brown, but he bounces right back up. Listen to this.
You have got to love this game. Athleticism, physicality.
Boy, there's a few. Dozier, I think, was leading the way on that one. Here's Ford. Ford, quick one. Lewis went down and got it. That'll be a first down for Edmonton. Nice catch from Gino Lewis for a big 7 yards.
And good awareness for Trey Ford, too, to know that he only had three-man pressure there, so he could be more patient. He could let Gino Lewis open up. You see how he takes his time, goes through his progressions, backside curl there to Gino for the first down.
Second catch of the game for Lewis. Shannon Brooks in the game at running back. Ford fakes it. Now thought about going down the field. Looked for Dunbar after he escaped, and Dunbar couldn't hang on.
Speaking of escape, wow, I mean, I thought he was caught in Trey Ford. They overload the left side of the line just to fake that they're going that way and get Trey Ford out in space, but I thought he was caught there, bounces outside of Alway, and boy, he put it right on Dunbar's hands.
Yeah, that was right there for Dunbar. Right through his arms, and he had a step or two on Roberson.
He turns the corner there. He might find the end zone on that play.
4 for 10 on second down today for Edmonton. Just three-man rush again. Ford near side to Mitchell. Mitchell made a man miss down the sideline. And that is a first down for the visitors. First catch of the game for Dylan Mitchell goes for 17.
Okay, here's an example of what Calgary might try to do more of. There's Cam Judge. Now just watch him as he goes to show blitz, and now he's spying. He's waiting, he's spying, and all he's doing there is mirroring Trey Ford. Vacates a zone if they play zone defense, or makes it more difficult against man when you've taken a linebacker and assigned him to mirroring the quarterback.
Missed tackle by Roberson there. Open things up. 17 for Mitchell. Ford gets this one away quickly. Goes right back over to Lewis. Tripped up this time by Roberson. Or Lewis was thinking he had some more space.
So this is what Calgary does, and they've been successful tonight. If they have some issues, they're going blitz. Send as many as you can and see if Edmonton can pick up the hot route. They've talked about it on the sideline. Quick throw, and outside they go. Nice pickup on the blitz. Gives Trey Ford a chance to get that 9-yarder out there to Gino Lewis.
2nd and 1, Cornelius into the game. Short yardage from the Calgary 34. And Cornelius found some space right side of his line. Calgary is not happy.
I was just going to say, though, Dustin, wasn't that about the same distance?
Second down.
Second down, not third down.
Yeah.
But it was the same distance.
He's actually executed this a few times. So.
No, and I know that second down, it's not a gamble anymore. I'm just meaning that he's going to get it.
Tuck it away for future reference, I guess, if it comes up again.
Exactly. Didn't get turned away once down at the goal line there.
Trey Ford back on the field from the Calgary 32. Back to Lewis. He's got it again, and another first down for Edmonton. 4th catch of the game for 87.
Yeah, they're starting to activate Gino Lewis, and he is going to be that inside guy. This is quads to the wide side of the field. 4 receivers. And look at that outside stem and then back into the middle. That stem is not only about timing, but it's also about getting inside leverage on anyone trying to cover you from outside in.
Time ticking down here in the half. We'll give it to Moore. Who's going to throw it to the end zone? Dunbar got it. Are you kidding me? What a play. Kyron Moore throws a touchdown to Stephen Dunbar. And Edmonton goes on top by 10.
Well, we've seen this many times. I mean, this is fly sweep. How many times have you seen fly sweep? You take a receiver. Nick Dembski does it for the Bombers all the time. You give him the fly sweep. This time he pulls up and throws it, and a great catch by Dunbar.
Nice adjustment by Dunbar, wasn't it?
Makes up for that early drop on the last series with a spectacular catch to adjust to that ball.
Kyron Moore with the touchdown pass, 19 yards to Dunbar to cap off an 8-play, 72-yard drive by Edmonton late in the half.
A.J. Ouellette, tailback for the Argos, got one earlier today. I mean, a touchdown throw.
Faithful makes it 18-17.
If I was
creativity on Labor Day.
You feel me? Take that.
Okay, let's see Dunbar's part in this. Nice little fake as he goes outside and then comes back into the middle, but this is selling it. I like how Kyron Moore kind of put both arms around it and put his head down, and look at that adjustment to the football. Saw some physicality this drive early on. We saw some athleticism there, and it's not really a trick play. I mean, you got guys that are great athletes, throw the football well. Some of them former quarterbacks. There's a former quarterback in Jerry's Jackson calling that play.
4th touchdown of the season for Dunbar. The other 3, I believe, all against Hamilton.
Yeah. We just getting started. We just getting started. You already know what it is.
18 points in the first half. Edmonton averages 17 points per game, and we're averaging 13 for the change at quarterback and OC. Lewis, far side. Just outside the 35, and Calgary will come back out. Chris Jones taking a tumble there. 26 seconds on the clock, and as we mentioned earlier, Booper's already out here at McMahon after that last offensive possession. That's Griffin, Michael Griffin, who is down on the field. They already lost Titus Wall. Claire Hanna passing along to us that Titus Wall not likely to return.
Yeah, Brandon Dozier has taken over for him.
But if Griffin goes out, does Dozier slide back
to safety possibly?
And then maybe you see Darius Williams or others into the game where Titus Wall had started. Griffin remains down on the field here, having a nice year, his first year, rookie out of South Dakota State. 20 tackles, special teams tackles, has a sack from back there as well.
And take a look at point of attack here. Teammate blocks Elk right into the back of his legs, it looked like.
It's been a nice surprise this season for the Calgary defense, and they've moved guys around this secondary. They've had Roberson on one side, they've had Moxie all over the place as well. They've added Shaq Richardson because Nick Taylor has been injured. They can move Dozier around this defense as well, and Griffin provides them with some more versatility and more options. He is back up now on his feet, but no pressure, very little pressure on that leg.
Well, as they juggle the defensive secondary and what they're going to do through the linebacking core with Titus Wall now out as well, one thing that can give them some relief there is a long drive by their quarterback, or at least keeping their offense on the field and the Trey Ford-led Elks offense off the field. Brent Monson has to juggle his group. Got great play this year out of the middle linebacker spot, and Cam Judge having another big year, as is Mike Rose. You mentioned the secondary. That's where they've really had to juggle, and it's not that they're substituting players that aren't good players. I mean, Nick Taylor's a very good player. Kobe Williams played a lot of different spots, but it's just the continuity of playing the same spot with the same guy game in, game out.
26 seconds left to work, and they get into field goal range for Paredes. There, far side, has a completion to get this thing started. Campbell's second catch of the game. Ed Gainey there to wrap him up. 20 seconds on the clock. Halftime coming up from Tim Hortons Field. I say Lapo kicking around too. A full crew there at the half, and lots to discuss.
We got a coach, a quarterback, a receiver, and a DB.
Mayer, far side. That's complete to Mills, and Mills takes it up inside the 45 with 8 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, got a chance here to get into field goal range. And a little more sense of urgency in this last 26 seconds of the half here from Jake Mayer. After a couple of series where he's a little sloppy, that one interception and then the fumble that he ended up recovering himself, but a little sloppy with the football for 2 series in a row.
20-yard pickup to Mills. We'll see if they can get a little bit more here. 3 options rather to his wide side right. Flush out to the right, throws to the right, and that one is caught. Akunavanu goes down with 2 seconds on the clock, and Paredes will trot out
Yeah, you gotta.
And this will be inside 50 for Paredes. He's 6 for 7 from beyond 50 this year. Has missed 3 in this range. This one will be from straight away. 48-yarder to pull Calgary within 8 at the end of the first half. Paredes got all of it and smooths it through. Calgary trailing Edmonton 18-10. We're going to hear from Kyron Moore in just a moment, and he'll certainly be talking about the little razzle-dazzle from Edmonton.
Fake fly sweep. Stephen Dunbar, outstanding adjustment. Major for the Elks.
Claire Hanna is with Kyron Moore.
Kyron, you played DB in high school. You obviously play receiver in the CFL, but we didn't know you played quarterback. How long have you guys been working on that play, and what was it like to see it go flawlessly?
Man, it went good. You know, we've been working on him this past week. I told Jay Jacket, because I also played quarterback in high school, you know, so he was talking, and I told him, I said, if I was 6'2", they'd be like Lamar who, you know, so it just played out well. I'm glad it worked.
Now, you've played in the Labor Day Classic in Saskatchewan. I'm curious, what's it like wearing the Elks jersey and going up against the Calgary Stampeders in a game that means a lot for you guys?
It's a different feel, you know. I'm glad to be a part of it, you know, just for coming from SAS. I never liked Calgary anyway, so I feel like they're just perfect.
Thank you very much, Kyron.
Thank you.
Kate, how are things going over there in Hamilton?
Well, you know, Claire, it's not quite as loud as it was before. I like what Matt just proposed, though. Kyron Moore or AJ Ouellette, who did it better? The fact that we've seen this twice in one day. I mean, that's the most Labor Day thing. Back alongside David Sanchez, Matt Dunnigan, Milt Stegall. And let's talk more about the Canadian quarterback in Tre Ford. I mean, his stats aren't blowing you away. It's 7 of 12 for 72, but it is the rushing yards. It is the 57 on the ground and his explosiveness so far, Matt.
Yeah, Kate, and we all been there. They tap into like a great athlete, and they try to simulate Tre Ford in practice for opposition and defenses to get it together. And you think you know, but you don't know until Tre Ford hits this on you and goes for 40. And it's like, oh, this is a different animal. And it is. And what's scary is now he's got him in a rocking chair. He doesn't know if they're coming up or coming back. And he can just slide to the left, and then boom, he's creating once again. Tre Ford is in a really good spot right now, and you heard Sue say what I referred to. Hey, you play to your strengths, and you run until you figure it out. And this kid's figured it out, because what you decide to do to try to put pressure on him is play cover zero. And what does he do? He reads that out and throws it on time. Tre Ford, like you said, Kate, is not putting up gigantic numbers here in the first 30 minutes, but he's got his football team out front. He's error-free, and he's got them in a rocking chair. They don't know where to come up or come back, and he can hurt you in so many ways. So you think you know, but you really don't.
The off balance that we're talking about and how they have him in a rocking chair, I think on the outside as well. I think the way they look at him, these numbers haven't been big, but what I'm seeing outside with the Elks receivers against the Stamps corners, I think they like what they've seen. I would look at that in the second half as well. Physicality-wise, I think both these coaches and teams knew exactly what was going to happen after this game. This is going to be a defensive battle, a physical battle, and that's what happened. This was running the alley right here. Number 4 versus number 4, like you said, Matt. Judge and Kevin Brown, that was a physical collision. And then Jake Ceresna on the other side. He's been playing on the other side of the line of scrimmage the whole night, and it's evident when you look at second down productions. The Stamps can't do anything right now. They are 3 out of 10 on second down right now. Obviously, that's not good to get it done, but they have to find a way to get some, whether it's getting carry going or just get some way to get that Elks defensive line from playing on their side, because it's evident they're dominating line of scrimmage.
Yeah, Calgary hasn't done much offensively, but they have done well special team-wise. 3 for 3 on field goals, and also Tommy Lee Lewis. He's a special returner. And the one thing he hasn't done yet this year, he hasn't put one in the end zone, but besides that, I would put him up there with the best returners in the game. He is a special player once he touches the ball. Not only has he played well today, but he's been playing well all year long. And I wouldn't be surprised if they got him more involved in the offense. Of course, yes, you want to keep your returner fresh, but when this offense is struggling, you got to put your best players on the field at all time. I like to call him a gnat right now because there's sure a lot of them out here right now.
We have dealt with every single element, by the way. We had 35-degree heat, we had the wind, and now we've got bugs galore. Okay, you know what? We have a little extra time, so we're going to play the game. Why not? We got Kyron Moore, we got A.J. Ouellette. Who did it better? Everyone gets a pick. I personally am going with A.J. Ouellette, but because of the celebration afterwards.
Yeah, and the humility. And I'm funning. I really think Moore threw a nice shot, but I'm taking AJ too, right? Yeah. He said the reason why that was there for him is because they set it up, and it wasn't him that actually set up. It was his brethren in arms. It was Andrew Harris who had the similar play, and then they ran it with AJ, and he had been practicing it, and he said he played a little quarterback back in the day, and he put it on the money. I loved it.
Love it.
I'm going to go with Mr. Moore, and not just because he's a receiver, but I think his play was a little bit tougher because he was on the run. He was more on the run and had to come to a sudden stop and make a throw. So both of them were special. It was also special to get AJ in, but it's an exciting play. But I'm going to go with Mr. Moore on that one.
Yeah, I like AJ because I like the celebration here behind us.
And we had him on the set afterwards.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah. I'm going to add to your point about Lewis right now and get him involved. I think I would go as far as saying, and he hasn't had a ton of touches in the league, period. There's not a more explosive guy in the CFL than Lewis right now.
Not right now.
They got to find a way to get him involved in offense more.
Definitely, yes.
We got to find a way to get rid of these bugs. I think I've been bit 17 times at this point. So Paul LaPolice standing by the way. He's going to be talking a little more. Jake Mayer. The Elks, by the way, they lead a game for the 4th straight game. Would you guys stop? My goodness. We'll be back with Lapo right after. It's coming up week 14 in the CFL. We've got Friday Night Football between the Tiger Cats taking on the Red Blacks. And then for the first time this season, we have ourselves a triple header. Alouettes, Argonauts, Rough Riders, Blue Bombers. And it all wraps up with a rematch. It's the Stampeders and the Elks. Obviously a rematch as well between the Riders and the Bombers. It's officially the Banjo Bowl, one of our favorite broadcasts of the year. Welcoming in now Paul LaPolice. And Lapo, let's talk a little Jake Mayer. And so far this season, I mean, leads the league in passing yards, which is great, and arguably coming off his best game of the season against the Toronto Argonauts. Starting okay in this one as well, but it's almost a conundrum because he's only got the 14 TDs. He's got the 1 INT today, so you've seen good, bad, but altogether, it's really not resulting in wins.
Yeah, and he also has the worst completion percentage of all the starting quarterbacks in the CFL. The last drive was very important. They got a field goal right before that, but besides that, he got very pedestrian numbers. 8 of 12, 122 yards. Kadeem Carey's only got 5 carries, but what hurts this team so much is that they are not very good at converting on second down. They're the worst team in the league on second and greater than 4 yards, medium or long, and they just don't have the ability to overcome those. Now, early in this game, they had 2 penalties. They've given up a couple of sacks, and that's just put them in second and long, and they just cannot overcome that. Certainly 8 other teams can overcome it better than them, so they've got to be better on their first down. Another thing that's shown up in this game is red zone. They're about 6th in the CFL in the red zone, so they've had 2 opportunities. They got sacked in one of them when they were there, and then they had to, kick 2 field goals. So that's kind of hurting them. The hard part as a play caller is you're trying to make sure you can create some rhythm for them on first down. I liked what they did last week with the quick passes, and then you take a shot occasionally, because he had 3 explosive touchdowns last week. But the problem is if you take those shots on first down, they have not overcome and gotten those first downs on second down.
All right, let's go a bit of a different way here. here, and
Yes.
I loved when you brought this idea up, giving a little love to Dave Foxcroft. And after covering this league for a few years now, to say the least, I mean, we're all a little bit biased. Dave Foxcroft is one of the best referees the CFL has ever had, reffing his final game here in Hamilton tonight. It's so sad to see him go, but what a career here in the CFL.
My first job in the Canadian Football League was with a man named John Heward, and the first time I worked for John Heward, I was a young kid in Maine Maritime Academy. They gave me a whistle, and it was a Fox 40 whistle, and they said, this is the best whistle in the world. And years later, I got to meet Ron and then and Dave, and Dave's done an outstanding job in our league. We appreciate everything you've done for us, Foxy. I'm going to spill something that maybe I'm not supposed to spill. He might be doing some stuff with the Big Ten, this year, so we'll see and what goes on. But best of luck, Dave, and thanks for all you did.
And you know what? That can't be a surprise, because as great as he is, as professional as he is, you got to think that at some point you get poached, and that's completely acceptable. But congratulations to Dave Foxcroft and the entire family. I know Ron, too. I mean, the king of that family. They're fantastic human beings. But we've still got ourselves a football game, 18-10. More coming up after this. Lapo was so great in the last segment, we kept him around for statistics.
I love the hip. How about that? A little hip for the stats package. 31 yards rushing, not enough for the Stampeders. 154 yards passing, not bad. You have one explosive play. They got to get first down productivity for the Stamps. Those explosive plays, maybe we'll get a score, because they are not good in the red zone again today. I like what the Elks have done with their running the football with Trey Ford.
Keep her going, Lapo. It's your block.
Oh, it's my block?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're looking forward to finishing off this great game.
Yes.
To finish the Labor Day halftime with Calgary and Edmonton.
Yes.
Edmonton's got the lead 18-10.
Nailed it.
Calgary Stampeders trailing Edmonton 18-10 at the half. Cam Judge of the Stamps is with our Claire Hanna.
Cam, I know you guys are going to try to slow down the running game, especially with Trey Ford. How much have you been spying?
I've been spying a decent amount. He's a good athlete, especially when he gets out in space. So trying to limit the opportunities that he has to do that.
Given what's on the line in this game against the Elks, what was the message to try to get back ahead of this game in the second?
Yeah, we got to win. That was basically a message. We got to win this game. And, we got to come out this half better than we did in the first half to make that happen. So that's the goal of this half.
Thanks, Cam.
All right, thank you.
A quick update, too. That's Troy Sevenchuk, who now takes over as referee. Tim Croker, who started the game as referee, is out with a calf muscle issue. Troy started the game as our umpire, moves to referee to handle things. 6 officials on the field here in the second half. Edmonton will get the ball to start. You heard Cam Judge say Calgary has to win one here. They have not lost 4 in a row since 2004. That's 19 years, Suits.
Yeah, John Huffnagel and Dave Dickinson weren't here yet.
We are underway, second half. Labor Day Classic, Edmonton on top, having lost 9 of the last 10 of these battles. Here's Sims, seeing if anything will open up, and it will not. Taken down at the 25, and that is where Trey Ford will start the half.
Yeah, interesting half for 25-year-old Trey Ford. Waterloo grad, getting out and getting running early on in the first quarter. Nice 40-yarder, set up points for the Elks, and then when Calgary started going to blitz and started to try and spy, he started beating it with some throws. So we'll see how the chess match develops here in this second half and what adjustments the Calgary defense will make to try and contain number 2.
4 of his 7 completions into the hands of the veteran Eugene Lewis. Edmonton starts here. Trips on the right. They'll give it to Brown, and Brown found a little bit of space. Decent pickup on first down for Kevin Brown, who had 32 yards in the first half on 6 carries.
Yeah, and don't forget the trick play from Kyron Moore and the double pass, the throw off the fly sweep. So now they go back to sort of conventional run off the left side and around the edge, and no surprise that it's 57 that eventually brings down Kevin Brown.
5 tackles already in this game for Awe. He had 7 last week. Now over 80 on the season. 7-yard pickup for Brown, 2nd and 3 from the Edmonton 33. Ford keeps it, takes off, has a ton of room. Ford slides down at the 40 after easily picking up that first down.
You know, sometimes we've seen a lot of quarterbacks, and a lot can run pretty well in our league, but you see a lot of quarterbacks when a defender comes down, how they can redirect. Watch what happens with Trey Ford and his 4.440. You can't redirect in time. He's too quick to get outside. That's coming from deep in the secondary to make that tackle.
Nick Stats was there to finish him off, playing more with a couple of injuries on the defensive side of the ball for Calgary. Here's Brown stumbling ahead, but he's got another Edmonton first down, and the Elks get 12 yards there and pick up where they left off in the first half.
Yeah, Matt Dunnigan at halftime, nice comment about the rocking chair that the Calgary defense is in right now. They're, you know, do they come up and really commit to stopping the run and Trey Ford running and in combination with Kevin Brown, or do they rock that chair back and stay back in coverage? Now Jarius Jackson's got him in the rocking chair.
Well over 100 yards on the ground already for Edmonton, averaging 103 coming into this game. Back to Brown again, and Brown getting a push from his offensive lineman. And a Kevin Brown drive continues.
Yeah, we showed you the numbers with these 2 and 4 in combination. But I also noticed big time tonight Kevin Brown with great second effort after contact. I mean, he's taken some big hits, and there's been some physical play, you know, 4 or 5 yards past the line of scrimmage. He gets a couple extra. Remember, Titus Wall is out, probably will not return, so Brandon Dozier will play in that spot. Down close to the line of scrimmage.
Clock ticking down. Ford just takes off on his own, and he has a first down for Edmonton. I'm not sure if that's how they drew it up, but Ford just was taken off, and he had the speed to get her done.
No, it's not how they drew it up, Dustin, because it looked like Kevin Brown may have either stepped up the wrong way or didn't do what Trey Ford thought he was going to do anyway, and he just made it happen on his own after the broken play. Watch the reaction here from Kevin Brown. He's like, well, oh, okay. Yeah, go ahead.
If it works, I guess.
Yeah.
Empty backfield for Ford this time. 3 to the left, 3 to the right, 3-man rush. Ford waits, tries to lob one in there, and it works. Nice touch as he gets it to Manny Arsenault, and he now has a catch in 140 consecutive games.
Yeah, that's pretty special. I mean, that's longevity, consistency, leadership, all of it from Manny Arsenault. His time with the BC Lions, his time in Edmonton. He goes up and wins between 2 defenders there. Enough for the first down. 15 different quarterbacks. Those 140 consecutive games with those catches.
Nice touch on that one from Ford. Most recent. To complete another one to him. Ford waiting to throw here. He's going to look down the field towards the end zone. Almost intercepted. Intended target had fallen at the end of it. Geno Lewis looking for another big shot. Couldn't get there on that one.
Manny Arsenault coming in there after no flag on the play. And take a look at the quarterbacks in that streak of 140 now. Games with at least 1 catch for Manny Arsenault. And Jarius Jackson.
Yeah.
His offensive coordinator, one of them back in the BC days.
Another offensive coordinator on there too. See Buck Pierce. 8th play of this drive from the Calgary 32. Ford gets it away near side for Lewis through his hands and incomplete. That'll bring up 3rd down, and Dean Faithful will trot out for a field goal attempt.
You see the arm strength that Trey Ford has. I mean, this is maybe the surest hands in the game right here in 87, and Geno Lewis, and very catchable ball for him. Had a little mustard on it.
Fun battle today watching Lewis go up against Roberson on one side and Moxie on the other. 39-yard attempt for Faithful, 1 for 1. Hit from 24 earlier in the ball game. Comes in at just 80% on the season. And this one is crushed through. And Edmonton now leading 21-10 on the road in Calgary. Calgary finding themselves in a hole at home, trailing by 11, but a lot of time to play in this ball game. Jake Mayer over 150 yards passing with an interception. On the pocket, down the field, wide open. He's got Ambles, who lowers the boom on Kai Gray and takes it down to the Edmonton 50. That should help things, Glenn.
Outstanding recognition from Jake Mayer here to go to this side of the field. Ed Gainey, the halfback on that short side, had dropped deep. And when he dropped deep, that opened up that underneath zone. Great recognition, good read, first option, and Ambles with the reception.
First and 10 from the Edmonton 49. Elks going to bring a little bit of pressure. Akunavanu's got it. And that's another first down for Calgary as the home side tries to find some momentum offensively. 15 yards on that connection.
Good look off from Mayer. Look at him looking to his left. He's looking to his left, trying to influence the defense with his look. And then go back to the backside to Akunavanu on that quick slant. Two real good throws from Jake Mayer, picking up that sense of urgency we saw in the last drive before the field goal before the half.
26 seconds to get them into field goal range. Now down to the Edmonton 34 after a couple of quick plays. Back on the ground, spin move by Carey gets him a few extra yards. And he'll be stopped a couple yards shy of a first down.
Now in the first quarter, Calgary ran the ball and they had good play calling and good balance in their offense. Some nice throws from Jake Mayer, and then drive stalled when they got to about this area and they had to settle for field goals.
35 yards for number 35 on 6 carries. Here's number 7. And this time he pops through a hole and lunges ahead, trying to pick up that first down.
Been so weird for Jake Mayer in a lot of ways. I mean, 450 versus Ottawa, they lose that game. He throws for 387 last week versus Toronto, lose that game. The game previous that they played Toronto, he throws for 149 and they win.
Yeah, they ran the ball all over them in that game.
You know, so you look at the numbers, 8 touchdowns, 2 interceptions in games that he didn't get the win.
It's not adding up, is it?
No, doesn't make sense. Sometimes the stats don't tell the story.
First and 10 from the 24. Mills into the game now. Makes a move all the way down to the 10. Still going all the way to the 5 before he stopped. Dedrick Mills giving Kadeem Carey a breather and just rumbles for 18. And then a flag thrown here. Did Mills hit one of the Elks in the helmet at the end of that play? He kind of slapped somebody up beside the head. That's when that flag came out. I think that's what we've got here.
The after yards gained.
Unnecessary roughness. Calgary, number 26. After yards are gained, 15-yard penalty, first down.
Keep in mind, that's our umpire, Troy Semenchuk, and there's a retaliation. Gainey got away with the first push, and there's the shot to the head.
It's after an 18-yard run.
Well, it was a great play. And
Yeah.
gets him down inside the 10-yard line. I mean, that's a couple of real good cuts, and then second effort there.
Penalty pushes him back out to the 21. Mayer pressured, gets it away. But boy, Edmonton was in the backfield in a hurry on that one, weren't they?
Yeah, Jake Mayer, it was like they were ricocheting off him. He was just dodging Serezna.
Well, it's such a good 1-2 punch with Serezna and AC Leonard. They're both having really nice seasons.
Yeah, and extra pressure coming from the backers, too.
Incomplete pass, second down.
That was Franklin who missed. Serezna was able to at least get contact on him. And now a huge 2nd and 10, considering where Mills had them prior to the penalty.
Yes, and the drive again, another successful drive. Could stall right here.
4 for 11 on 2nd down. 7th play of the drive from there. 3 options out to his wide side left. Pressure coming. A flag on the play. Cody Ely was held. Mayer will throw it towards the end zone. And it's hauled in for a touchdown. But this one will come off the board.
I don't think Jake Mayer saw the flag. He was out and around the edge before the flag was thrown and didn't see it was behind him.
So Calgary, another penalty backing them up here.
Brandon Weldon getting the start at left tackle, and you'll see him pulling Connie Ely from the outside the shoulder pads, and Jake Mayer did not see the flag. He was well out and around the corner by then.
Ely has certainly established himself on this defensive line this year. 4 sacks on the year coming into this game.
You can move him around and play him outside off the edge too. That's nice versatility for a man that size.
2nd and 20 now for Mayer. Has a completion. Tackle made immediately though, and a drive that was once down to the Edmonton 6 has been backed all the way up, and that will once again have them settle for an attempt at 3.
It's just another example of Calgary, you know, from their own 20 to here. One decision by Mills on the retaliation. It was still 1st down though, 1st and 10, because it was after the yards gained, that penalty. And they can't execute to put in the end zone.
Paredes back to work again for the 4th time tonight. And he's perfect. But Calgary still trailing at home. There is our referee, Tim Croker, watching on now from the sidelines, leaving this game with a calf issue. Troy Semenchuk taking over.
So far, so good, Troy. Working that mic.
Edmonton starting on their own 40. And a lunge ahead right up the middle for 3 yards from Shannon Brooks, the rookie out of Minnesota.
Are we putting Tim Croker on the 6th game? I guess he'll have to get examined. Be on the injured list. We'll see if it's, hopefully it's not too bad. I'm saying calf muscle, so.
Kevin Brown, 56 yards on the ground. Trey Ford, 74. Now they mix in Shannon Brooks a little bit. 2nd and 7 from the Edmonton 43. Elks leading by 8. Here's Ford. Forced back, way back. Now he moves to his left on the run. Trey Ford still going, and now he finds a space on the far side of the field. How about this? Ford to the 50, down to the 40, and will eventually slide. Just brilliant stuff from the Canadian quarterback.
Wow. Trey Ford did not get hit by any of the 12 defenders on the field for the Calgary Stampeders and looked like he may lose 20 yards. Okay, now I'm not comparing him, and I know that Coach Jones has also talked a little bit about this, so it's not a unique idea by any stretch of the imagination, but I saw some Doug Flutie in there on this run.
33 yards. Ran about 80 to get there, and he's over 100 yards on a day in his first Labor Day Classic. Now gets turned around, has to take off again, and he finds space and gets something out of nothing. Here's Chris Jones on his quarterback.
The CFL purists are probably cringing at the thought of me saying that somebody that's, won a couple ball games is Doug Flutie, because Doug won so many games and is such an icon up here. But body type wise, stature wise, but I think more than that, I mean, Trey's got a huge heart. Common day, of Kyler Murray, and then old school would be Doug Flutie.
Yeah, and again, we're not trying to compare the accomplishments of Doug Flutie and what he did in the Canadian Football League and his MOPs and championships, but you're looking at body type, speed, quickness, how to avoid, throwing from different angles, and just his athleticism, but not just, he's not just a runner, just an athlete. The guy can throw the football on the run. And you can see the comparisons. I mean, there's Doug wearing the Calgary Stampeder jersey. And I played against Doug. And I can't tell you how many times Bobby Jurison and I were in the huddle going, can someone please catch him? Like, it drives you nuts defensively when you got a guy that you can't run down and catch.
First career 100-yard rushing game for Ford. He's at 113. Fun to watch. Must be a nightmare to play against, though. 2nd and 4.
Full blitz.
Gets it away quickly to Kyron Moore, and Moore has a first down. He also takes a huge blow by Micah Alway right at the end of it. And he's up, chirping back in his face.
Well, first of all, it's great recognition by Ford, because Calgary, after that run, they're going to fill all the gaps defensively, and that means he throws a quick route out to Kyron Moore, and there's your hit. How many is that now for Alway?
Lots. He's at 7.
Yeah.
Double-digit tackle game certainly wouldn't surprise anybody for Alway with the season he's having. Here's Ford, pressured again on the run again, and he finds space again. Keeps going, eventually tracked down from behind. But Trey Ford running down the throat of the Calgary Stampeders.
Yeah, and I saw him in those last couple of plays. We saw the shot of him in the huddle, and he's really trying to catch his wind now. I mean, he is running a ton. Just, if he's getting a 10-yard gain, he's running 30 yards to get it. And he's trying to catch his wind down here. And meanwhile, Brent Monson's trying to figure out how they catch him.
I'm tired just watching. 120 yards on the ground, 90 more through the air. 2nd and 3 for Ford. Calgary going to show some pressure. He guns it out to Moore again. Kyron Moore, a stiff arm to get himself a first down.
See Kyron Moore that time, Dustin? Same play 2 plays ago. He made a move and went inside.
Kept it outside this time.
And Michael Alway came down inside and put a pretty good hit on it. This time, Kyron Moore went, yeah, you know what? I'm going to take that hitch. I'm going to take it wide, and I'll go one-on-one with Moxie. But he got the first.
Time ticking down here in the 3rd quarter. First and goal from the Calgary 9. Can Edmonton finish this drive? They'll give it to Brooks, pushing ahead, takes it down just shy of the 5.
That was a ride and decide play. That was a play where Trey Ford had a chance to either pull it or give it to Brooks on the inside. And I think just because of fatigue on this particular drive, Trey Ford decided to give it.
Give himself a bit of a breather.
Yeah.
2nd carry of the game for Brooks.
Look who else is breathing hard. Cam Judge trying to track him down.
That's a highly tuned athlete trying to find some air. Ford trying to find the end zone. 2nd and goal. Has it. Will throw it, and he's got it. Touchdown, Dunbar. 2nd of the game. First one was from Moore. This one is from Ford, and Edmonton has some breathing room.
Yeah, Calgary just got tired of the running, and they load the line. Now, you also do that when you're down in your own goal line, but this is Trey Ford, recognize it. Instead of trying to bounce around and run around this time, quick play action, inside rope by Dunbar. Very tough to cover with no linebackers in there to take away the throwing lanes, and what a drive by number 2.
8-play, 70-yard drive, most of it on the creativity of Ford. 5th touchdown of the season for Dunbar. Faithful out for one more. And Edmonton is on top, 28-13. Calgary is 0-7 on the year when trailing after 3 quarters. And they're down by a bunch. Well, Edmonton continues to roll. They lead 28-13, and look at those rushing yards, 191 yards on the ground.
40-yard run for Trey Ford and a 33-yarder that was spectacular. I mean, when you're almost about to give up a sack, lose probably 20 yards, and then turn it into a 33-yard gain, setting up a touchdown throw. As soon as the Calgary Stampeders had to deal with this, he could have given up 20 there, and yet he bounces out, cuts back, doesn't go down there, makes a move on DBs now. He's in the backfield, and the 33 yards sets up the major. Calgary decides to try and blitz him after a couple of those runs, and he throws a completion to Dunbar for the touchdown.
That shot there, that from the drone that we got floating around above McMahon. Bit of a shorter kick this time, trying to stay away from Tommy Lee Lewis. And that is returned back outside the 45, so decent field position for Jake Mayer and the Calgary Stampeders if they can get something going offensively, just settling for field goal after field goal so far today.
Yeah, that's they've had moments. They've had moments when they look good offensively, moving the ball in the middle of the field, and then again, the drive stalls and they settle for those field goals. You know, credit to Edmonton's defense too, making the right decisions and plays when they had to limit the damage.
Calgary starts on their own 47, trailing by 15. Quick completion, Markin Michel. He makes a couple of guys miss, and Michel still going. But we talked about it earlier. He hit a big one earlier in the game. This guy's got that game-breaking ability.
Yeah, now they're working the clock too, so Jake Mayer is going to try and get in another huddle quickly here. But again, middle of the field, nice throw. And that slant route, Markin Michel, some yak yards after the fact, and some blocking downfield.
.71 yards in this game for Michel, leads the way for Calgary. Beggleton just 22 yards. Pressure from Edmonton. Mayer gets it away. Michel again broke a tackle. He's got a first down before he's tracked down from behind by Kai Gray. Back-to-back completions to Markin Michel.
Dave Dickinson and the staff has seen something here in Markin Michel. I think it's just the cushion that he's getting depending on where he's lining up. Kai Gray playing way off him there at about 8-9 yards. So they look like they go to almost an automatic to throw that quick one.
Well, this could be huge for Calgary, not just a drive where maybe they put up some points, but a quick one, which is what they've got going here early in the fourth quarter. This time on the ground, pushing ahead to Dean Carey for a first down, and the Stampeders are marching.
Kadeem Carey just bowed his neck on this. He just decided he was going to take the pile with him. He bows his neck, he gets big in the hole, and he just drives. Drive, another 4 yards.
Third trip to the red zone today for Calgary, settling for a couple of field goals, just 48% on the year coming into this game when they get inside the red zone. First and 10 from the Edmonton 20. 3 options to the left for Jake Mayer. That's where he's going to go, and he's got a completion to Beggleton. Tackle made right on the spot by Mark McLaurin.
You know, they got to go back to this, the Calgary offense, because they've got some option here. That was a nice throw to Begelton, and I get it over there on the out. But if you go back and take a look at this formation, watch the back out of the backfield here in lots of space. This is another thing that Jake Maier can go to. He's got space outside, and he's got a one-on-one on a linebacker. You get the ball to your back with lots of time in a one-on-one with that much room, and you got a chance for a big, big play. Not saying it was a wrong decision, saying there's another option.
Empty backfield this time. They need 8 yards. They go to Tommy Lee Lewis. Lewis tried to turn it up the field, but he's taken down just inside the 15, and they will be well short of picking up the first down. And they will go for it and move quickly here. Jake Maier, 3rd and 4.
Trying to get the offside call.
Edmonton didn't jump there. Maier barking out some instructions. Play clock ticks down. Maier, got to have this one. Dumps it off underneath. Heavy hit, but it should be enough for a Calgary first down. Just enough.
Well, that's big. That's big because Jake Maier steps up in the pocket here and aims this one. He doesn't really throw it, he aims it. He knew the importance of this and almost just pampered that ball in there. He got a big hit on Ambles. Looked like it was from AC Leonard, but
moving quickly now. Tucking back in the belly of their running back. And I believe that's Mills who pushed it ahead that time.
Peter Mills up the middle. Right down by number 8, Mark McLaurin.
Calgary trailing 28-13.
Clearly Dave Dickinson going 3-down football. Gamble on the last 3rd down. Would still have taken the field goal there. Made it a 12-point game. Decided not to, got the first. Can they 3-down football in it and punch this in the end zone?
2nd and goal from the Edmonton 5. 4 options out to the left from Maier. He's going to run to the right. Jake Maier on the run, looking to the end zone, and he's in. Touchdown, Calgary. Jake Maier does it himself.
Little peek there early from Jake Maier. He saw something from either contain or a lack of it from the Edmonton Elks on that side. Coverage down the field. We're taking care of their men in one-on-one, so he saw the backs of the DBs and took off for the corner.
3rd rushing touchdown of the season for Jake Maier. Comes at a great time. Finish off an 8-play, 63-yard drive. Taking a page out of Trey Ford's book there. Run this in too. Now whistles as Paredes was set up for the extra point. Now we've got an excellent finish coming up here to Labor Day weekend in the Canadian Football League. Finally something to build on for Calgary after settling for field goal after field goal after field goal.
And a decision
Timer,
on 3rd down.
please reset the game clock to 10 minutes. Thank you.
By Dave Dickinson pays off.
So I saw they were fucked up.
Big catch by Ambles. He got hit hard on that 3rd down play by AC Leonard and hung on to that football to give Jake Maier a chance. But that's big.
Paredes makes it an 8-point ball game. Labor Day Classic between Edmonton and Calgary. Like the rest of the weekend, living up to the hype. Jake Maier found a path to the end zone and took it. Soundtrack of many Labor Day weekends for millions of Canadians, I would assume. And we've got a great finish coming up here. 28-20. Edmonton leads. CJ Sims takes it at the 11, back to the 20, 25-30, no further.
Let's go back and see how Jake Mayer got outside of containment here. Serezna's in here. Niles Morgan is supposed to come out in the stunt and get contained, but watch how Joshua Coker, the right tackle, seals him inside. He tries to get to contain, and right here now he's got outside leverage, so that is allowing Jake Mayer to spring and get to the corner, and then he sees it's man-to-man with all the DBs with their back to him, and he takes it off to the corner of the end zone there.
There's that drone shot we're getting a look at. Edmonton starts in their own 31. They'll try to go back to the ground, and it works. Kevin Brown straight ahead. First down, right up the gut, 11 yards. Puts him over 65 on the day.
Kevin Brown, ball carrier.
Averaging about 13 carries over the last 3 games. See, there was a nice block down the field. Catch the number of the Elks O-lineman that got on Mike Alway. Get a chance in the run, you better block 57.
Fresh set it down from the Edmonton 42. Ford, a high one. Arsenault went up and got it, and hauls in his second catch of the ball game.
How many does he have now? We're talking 9 tackles. And that puts him, continues with his pace. Singleton, Alex Singleton set the record for the Stamps at 123. Coming into this one tonight, Mike Alway is on pace for 127. Might be slightly ahead of that with 9 already.
Big time addition to this Calgary defense. 2nd and 5 for Edmonton. Ford looking for that first down near sideline. He's got it. And he'll slide down there. Another first down picked up by the legs. The fancy feet of Trey Ford.
Yeah, he could tell by alignment that he was going to try and get the edge here because Calgary didn't have a linebacker on the outside of the defensive end. And I think anytime he sees that, he's going to pull it, get out, because he one-on-one and against a D lineman, he's gonna win the angle there. He's gonna win the race.
Edmonton looking to take some precious time off this clock. Back to Brown again, right up the middle again for Kevin Brown. That's gonna go for close to 20.
Take a look at the splits here, Dustin. Look how wide the splits are in the interior of the line here, just so they can be wide enough to contain Trey Ford. And when you're that wide, you get blocking angles for your offensive linemen to spring your tailback between the tackles.
129 yards for Ford on the ground, 86 for Kevin Brown. 230 as a team for Edmonton. Back to Brown again. He's got space again. Another first down. Flag comes out after Brown had picked up the first down. They are running the ball all over the Calgary Stampeders. Bit of a grimace there for Brown.
Holding Edmonton, number 58. 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
Brandon Dozier, I believe, was doing a little trash talking with Josiah St. John after the play. So I'm going to take a wild guess and say it was those two guys. We know who got the penalty, but I think I can guess who he held. He held Brandon Dozier.
So that'll back him up. 1st and 20 now. Clock ticks down. Just over 6 remaining. Edmonton up by 8. 5-man rush from Calgary. Ford escapes it, was looking for Arsenault, and it falls incomplete.
Wow. I've seen throws against the flow before, but that was pretty radical. And I think it even surprised Manny Arsenault on this crossing road. I mean, Arsenault's all the way over here. when Ford, who's rolling to his right at the end of this play, tries to sling it out there. He wasn't ready for it.
12 for 20 on second down, but they need 20 here. 4 options out to the left for Ford. He's going to take off right up the middle. Going to create some more magic. Tracked down from behind. Ball is out. Was he already down anyway? And he ends up hanging on to it.
Yeah, you're 2nd and 20. This is a heads-up play again. A decision now.
Timeout, Calgary.
Take a look at that again. That was closer than I thought it was. I thought he was down by contact before the ball went out when he saw it live, but take one more look here. Contact made there. Very close. But he had recovered on his own, so maintains possession anyway, but a field goal attempt here makes it a 2-score game.
And this will be the longest field goal of the season for Faithful if he can make it. Long so far, 45. This one from 46 to extend the lead to 11.
Timer, can you please reset the game clock to 5:29? Thank you.
All right, clock appears to be good to go. 5:29. Tommy Lee Lewis lurking around back here.
Yeah.
He's had a couple of excellent returns already today. Faithful trying to knock home his longest field goal of the season. From 46 for a double-digit lead on Labor Day. That one is up. And he knocks it through. Longest of the season. Could not have come at a better time for Dean Faithful as he continues to find his stride as a CFL kicker. Chris Jones likes it. Time for your Coors Light moment of chill. It's probably the slowest forward move to the entire evening, I would think, Glenn.
Walking down the tunnel. It's been a track meet since. Well over 100 yards already tonight. A couple of big gains. Boy, it gets tough for defenses.
180 rushing yards is the record by a quarterback in a game. He's at 135 right now. Just over 5 minutes to go. Flags here. Jake Mayer lets it fly as he was eventually wrapped up by Serezna. Is this against Calgary?
Yeah, it looked like one of the receivers.
Yeah.
It might have been Tommy Lee Lewis. It's Tommy Lee Lewis getting a chance on offense.
Offside, Calgary. That penalty will be declined. 2nd down.
Okay, Chris Jones declines the penalty. Instead of 1st and 15, we'll get 2nd and 10.
Still lots of time for Calgary here. Just got to move quick. Down 11. Big field goal by Faithful. A 46-yard.
No question, but still 2-possession game and lots of time.
Mayer just 4-man rush again. Down the field, far side! And that is broken up. And a flag at the end of the play. They were looking for the big man, Hakunavanu. And that pass interference will march him down the field.
Well, Franklin from the safety position goes a long
Pass
way.
interference. Edmonton, number 24. Will go to the spot of the foul. 1st down.
A long way to get there, but it's Darius Bratton that gets the penalty for kind of running over Hakunavanu before the tip. So he's running over him there, and then the ball is tipped, and that's why the flag comes out.
Yeah, if he doesn't get involved with him, probably just batted away cleanly there by Franklin, right?
Great range.
35-yard penalty when it's all said and done. Now Calgary's going to run it right up the middle, put themselves in a 2nd and manageable with 4:40 on the clock.
That's good on Jake Mayer to, take the shot. You got it now. You're down 2 possessions. Time's running out. Take some shots. Maybe you get your receiver wins a jump ball, or you get that PI call.
They move quickly now. 3 receivers to his left. Quickly to his right for a first down. Niles Morgan and Ed Gainey are there to work together to stop Ambles after his 5th catch of the ball game.
Markeith Ambles, bam, just stop, give a target. Nice.
Trey Duke's not available, so more of an elevated role for Ambles. And he's come up big. Mayer with 4 to the left, fakes it. Now Jake Mayer has a completion just outside the 10. Markin Michel is there for a Calgary first down.
Well, Michel's been their best receiver tonight. Without question, started out with a big catch in the very first series, and now this is another important one with Mayer on the move.
4th trip inside the red zone today for the Calgary Stampeders. Jake Mayer with a rushing touchdown and a bunch of field goals for Paredes. 1st and 10 from the Edmonton 11 for Mayer. Pressure from Edmonton right up the middle. Mayer to the end zone. Broken up. No flags. McLaurin there against Begelton, and Begelton in disbelief that there was no flag on the play.
Begelton, he knows the blitz is coming. He's got to get to the middle. Well, I think that was early.
And it has been challenged. Dave Dickinson, who is 1 for 8 on challenges this season, has decided to throw a flag here.
Well, it hasn't just been Dave Dickinson. I mean, yeah, he's challenging that because it looked like that contact came
Calgary
a little bit early.
Is challenging DPI on their receiver, number 84. We'll review the play.
Mark McLaurin, did he arrive too early? What do you think?
Early.
Looks like it. All right, let's give you one more look at this challenge from Dickinson. Jake Mayer looking for Begelton. He'll come right back into the screen there. Let's get the ruling.
After review, the call on the field is overturned. We have defensive pass interference. Edmonton, number 8. The ball will be placed on the 1-yard line. First down.
Roar from the crowd in McMahon. And the ball will be placed on the 1.
It wasn't a, it was closer than you think for McLaurin, but he did make contact first with the shoulder and then the forearm.
Tommy Stevens into the game here. Time for Tommy to finish the job, pushing straight ahead, and he's in. Touchdown, Calgary. Flags on the play, but the Stampeders have appeared to push one home.
See what the flag is.
Offside, Edmonton. That penalty will be declined. Result of the play, touchdown.
Well, not only is this huge to get that major, but also to get this major before the 3-minute warning. So, as you mentioned, not only to score the major, but score it at a fast pace before you get into the final 3 minutes of the game when the clock stops.
2 minutes and 20 seconds. 8 plays, 70 yards. And now they will go for 2 to try to make this a 3-point ball game with just over 3 minutes to play. Kind of got to have this here for Jake Mayer. Pressure from Edmonton. Mayer backpedaling, looks to the back of the end zone. Did he sneak it in there? Yes. Luther Hakunavanu pulls it in, and we've got a 3-point game in the Labor Day Classic.
Hakunavanu also drew a penalty flag in the drive and gets maybe the biggest play of the game right here. 2-point convert.
What a pass from Jake Mayer.
Kunavanu uses the waggle to his advantage on this deep post, the back of the end zone. And what a throw by Jake Mayer. Good concentration, keep the feet in bounds, tap him down. You only need one.
Edmonton brought quite a bit of heat on that one. Mayer backpedaled enough, bought himself some time, and just drops one in there perfectly. 2:50 to play, 3-point game, and it's just kicked away. Sims will take it at the 13. CJ Sims, far side of the field. Decent return, steps out just short of the Edmonton 40. And now if you're Calgary, you're tasked with somehow slowing down Trey Ford to get this ball back.
They've had some success defensively when they've gone with the full blitz and forced Trey Ford to throw it quickly, often outside to Kyron Moore on those quick hitches. Gino Lewis on a slant in the third quarter. We'll see what Calgary dials up here.
Calgary's last 3 losses at home by 1, 2, and 3 points. Trailing by 3 here. Ford pitches it out to Brown, looking for an edge. Couple of yards on first down. And a huge second down coming up here.
Boy, they are locked in. I saw Cameron Judge on the backside. You can see how they're slow playing it. I'm talking about the Calgary D-line, trying to slow play it. And basically run either Kevin Brown or Trey Ford out of room. Having trouble tackling them, just run them out of room.
Crowd and McMahon trying to get behind their defense. 2nd and 7. The Stamps are going to bring some heat. Ford in trouble, throws it away. And it falls incomplete, and the Stampeders are going to get the ball back with 2.5 to play. Just the second 2-and-out of the ball game for Edmonton.
Yeah, you're going to have a stunt and full blitz up front. Michael Holloway going in this gap. And there's Rose. He's also a gap. So strong A and weak A taken, and Rose gets free. That forces the throw off balance. No chance for Trey Ford to connect there.
Big return from Tommy Lee Lewis will go a long way. Julian Waits on a crisp fall evening here in Calgary. 50-yarder. Lewis grabs it near side of the field. Friendly fire takes him down just shy of the 25. Ryzen John ran into him. Wrapping up an excellent weekend
You're
here.
having fun? You're having some fun.
A lot. Full slate. Week 14 begins with Friday Night Football. Ticats taking on the Red Blacks, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific, only on TSN. And how about this Saturday? Al's Argos. Banjo Bowl. Rematch of this one. Whew, it's going to be a great Saturday. An excellent Monday here in Calgary. Jake Mayer. What's he got? About 41 yards to get into Paredes field goal range is what Mayer needs. Mayer down the field. That's a big chunk, just shy of the 40. Drops it into Reggie Begelton.
Negotiating the pocket, stepping up, climbing up in the pocket, and that's a tough throw to make, going across the body opposite the direction you're rolling out.
There's
Late
a flag on the far side of the field. What do we got here?
Illegal contact. Edmonton, number 29. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Kai Gray doesn't agree.
A 14-yard catch, 10-yard penalty.
So yeah, it was a 14-yard catch. 10 yards on the penalty. And they will go from the 34. Kadeem Carey out to the right. Mayor's going to go in that direction, and he's hammered. McLaurin finishes him off. Carey held on to that ball, though. It's a hard 4 yards through the air.
And in case Calgary fans are wondering, you take the penalty, the 10-yard penalty, to stop the clock immediately.
So you lose the 4 yards, but you stop that clock immediately. Yeah.
And look at this hit.
Teed up on that one. Big second down here for Mayer. AC Leonard got past his man, and Ely knocks it down as Mayer tried to let it go, and that will bring up third down for Calgary.
Ely is in his three-point stance, but you know, he doesn't even rush here. He kind of steps up, engages, and then notices the throwing lane and gets right up in it. There's some good football instincts from Coney Ely, and look at that, just skied for that one.
Here we go, 3rd and 6 for Jake Mayer on his own 38, trailing by 3. Just under 2 minutes to play. AC Leonard might have been early. Mayer's going to heave one down the field, has a man, drops it in there. What a completion for the Calgary Stampeders. Jake Mayer to Reggie Begelton.
Well, and it looked like it was AC Leonard that was offside to the left of your screen. So again, it's a free play
Offside.
for Jake Mayer.
Edmonton number 6. That
It
penalty
was.
will be declined. First down.
Now they can decline the penalty, take the play.
And Begelton with his biggest catch of the game.
Well, they just announced at the end of that the play is under review to make sure that Begelton did catch this and it didn't hit the turf. That shot blocked.
That's a tough one to see. That's not going to help much. Another look at it.
Again, no.
The previous play is under review by the command center.
Again, no evidence there enough there to overturn it. This might be the best angle. I don't know that touched the ground.
I think it's his shoulder.
His shoulder hits the ground. I don't think the ball did.
It's got the stripe on his shoulder, which is a little confusing from that last angle.
Well, this is the problem here is it's blocked right at the key moment. But you're right. That one look, this look right here.
I think it's his shoulder pad that you're seeing hit the ground here.
That tip of the ball, I don't think it touches.
Got that arm wrapped around it the whole time, doesn't he? Sensational catch from Begelton if it does indeed hold up. A long look at this one. Big moment in this ball game right here.
The ruling on the field stands. First down.
"26 yards to Begelton. Right in Paredes territory here, but lots of time. Calgary's thinking of going down the field and winning this thing. They'll hand it off right up the middle. What a run. That's going to be enough for a first down. Dedrick Mills this time as the 1-2 punch at running back continues to pay off.
Boy, that's exactly what they're doing, Dustin. They're not thinking field goal to tie here. This is a chance to go and score. Take as much time as you can off the clock as you're doing it. Get right down there almost on the final play, punch it in.
0-7 this season when trailing after 3 quarters, looking to change that. Mayer on the run to his right, gets it away, has a completion.
Get out.
Ambles.
Yeah, they are saying he got out of bounds.
6th catch of the game for number 6.
Well, the biggest was that 3rd down gamble. That turned into a little bit of limp there on Markeith Ambles. Playing for Trey Odom's Dukes tonight. A couple of nice throws from Jake Mayer getting outside of the pocket. Usually when he does, it's to the right side behind Joshua Coker.
Jake Mayer closing in on a 300-yard game. He's at 295. hands this one off. Right up the middle. First down, Calgary. 1:24 on the clock. Dedrick Mills again.
Well, you can see that Dave Dickinson and the offensive staff just go switch right back into their regular play package. And that includes Dedrick Mills or Kadeem Carey, their tailbacks. Because there's plenty of time to run a normal drive and finish with a major.
Yeah, no real rush right now.
What does Edmonton have defensively?
Is there a stop in the cards for this Edmonton defense? And a timeout.
Timeout. Calgary. That's their final timeout.
Well, Dave Dickinson used his challenge but won it, so kept his timeout. There was some issue there for Calgary offensively with their formation. Jake Maier stepped up and looked to the left side of his offensive line there. Didn't like what he saw, and Dickinson saw the same thing.
Getting to that very interesting part of the field here where Calgary has had to settle for some field goals today, earlier in the game. They kind of found their groove in the second half, and they would love to find another major with just 70 seconds on the clock. No matter how this finishes, another excellent football game here on Labor Day Monday. First down from the Edmonton 24 for Jake Maier. Three options out to his right. Three-man pressure from Edmonton. Maier gets it away. Couple of positive yards as he dumped it off to his running back. Heavy collision at the end of that play.
There's been some collisions, absolutely.
How many times have I said that today?
There's been some collisions and just some great physical play all weekend long, really. I mean, going even back to the first game of the weekend in BC and Montreal, but last night in Saskatchewan, for this game in Hamilton. They're hitting.
2nd and 8. Can they keep this drive alive? Maier with time down the field, has a man inside the 5, guns it in there to the veteran Ambles, and Calgary is knocking on the door with 40 seconds left.
Boy, so important to have a veteran who understands the situation and finds a hole for you. That's a zone defense for Edmonton, and a veteran in Markeith Ambles finds the hole. Third key catch of this game for Ambles.
Jake Maier over 300. Won't mean anything to him if they can't finish this drive. Clock ticks down inside 30. They'll hand it off. Bouncing off a tackle, looking towards the end zone, and he's in! Touchdown, Calgary! Dedrick Mills puts them on top late.
This is all Dedrick Mills, single-handedly willing himself into the end zone. He hits the back of his offensive line. He finds another escape lane to the outside. He beats one tackler in Niles Morgan, one of the best tacklers in the league, and gets there. That's all 26 on his own.
A 10-play, 86-yard drive that took just 2 minutes and 3 seconds. And the Calgary Stampeders go on top.
Important extra point. I know there's only 20 seconds left. No doubt. No doubt.
4-point ball game. 21 fourth-quarter points from Calgary. Quick 6 getting a workout in the fourth quarter.
Well, you mentioned Calgary, and they're trailing this season going into the fourth quarter. They couldn't find ways to come back and win. I mean, this is a type of game that can change your season around, that can finally sort of verify what you're doing as a coaching staff. It basically shows the team that now they got 20 seconds to continue to battle here, but Calgary's been so close so many times, especially at home. and come away empty-handed. You mentioned 1, 2, and 3 points, their last 3 losses here. This is the type of come-from-behind win, big drive to go ahead with 20 seconds left that can turn it around for you.
Last 4 possessions of this ball game for Calgary, a field goal followed by 3 consecutive touchdowns. They were down by 15 at the beginning of the 4th quarter. They now lead by 4, trying to seal away another Labor Day Classic victory. Sims will take it at the 10. CJ Sims back up to the 30, and Sims wrapped up at the 35 with 14 seconds on the clock. And this Trey Ford have some magic in him somewhere.
Well, he's gonna probably try to escape the pocket, get outside, and then find those big chunks. Now, the Calgary defense is going to play way off. They can't let anybody in behind them, certainly. So they're going to be probably 20, 25 yards away from the line of scrimmage.
14 seconds and a timeout to work with for Trey Ford. First taste of Labor Day for the young quarterback. 3-man rush. Ford out to the left. Down the field, far side. And that is hauled in by who else? Geno Lewis with Robertson hanging off his back.
Well, you got 2 plays if you're Trey Ford now. You can be efficient with another probably 15 to the outside or take a shot. Scramble around, take a shot, try to get one of your guys open on the scramble.
7 seconds on the clock. Flags everywhere. Ball never got snapped. Crowd and McMahon here on their feet.
Procedure. Illegal procedure. Edmonton, number 69. That penalty will be declined. The clock will be on a go.
This clock will be running with that penalty declined.
Likely be the last one.
Ford needs a whole bunch here to try to stay alive. Dumps it off to Manny Arsenault. Arsenault taken down, and that will do it. The Calgary Stampeders storm back to win the Labor Day Classic in thrilling fashion. 35-31, stealing it away from their rivals from the north. What a finish.
Well-earned victory. Great performance by Trey Ford, especially running the football, getting his team out in front. But Jake Mayer put together an 80-plus yard drive to win it, the go-ahead touchdown.
It was a 10-play drive in the final 3 minutes from Jake Mayer. Put him over 300 yards passing and brings his team back. 22 points in the 4th quarter. And Calgary gets a win that they very much desperately needed. 35-31. Labor Day Classic goes to the Stamps. Thank you for joining us. What a weekend. Sports Center's next.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome inside Sports Center. He is Adam. I am Tessa. We're here to get you set up with all the great things that have taken place in sports today. We're going to kick things off with that CFL game and what was the most anticipated game of the season and couldn't have come at a better time for the Edmonton Elks until, well, it didn't. And then, you know, they were coming in trying to win 3 straight games for the first time in 5 years, where the Stamps, they're just trying to snap a 3-game skid.
They certainly were. The Elks, obviously the big story coming off those 2 wins, but the Stamps coming back in a big way in this one. Let's take a look at the highlights. The first game of a home-and-home between the teams. With a win, the Elks could move into a tie with the Stamps in the West. Trey Ford making his 4th straight start, using his legs in the first quarter.
Well after the play and want to protect the players, and so does the PA.
Here goes Trey Ford. What a move. Down to the 15. One man to beat Ford. Looking for the end zone. Pushed out of bounds. Up and over. at the end of a spectacular run by the young quarterback.
40 yards on the play. Ford trying to lead the Elks to their third straight win. Like you mentioned, Tess Taylor Cornelius ran it in for a TD 2 plays later. Second quarter, Elks up 1. Jake Mayer forced out of the pocket, throws downfield, picked off by Marcus Lewis. Mayer throws his league-leading 13th interception of the season. The Elks kicked a field goal on the ensuing drive, and they weren't done in the half.
Time ticking down here in the half. We'll give it to Moore, who's going to throw it to the end zone. Dunbar got it. Are you kidding me? What a play.
What a play indeed. Moore pulls off the trick play to Stephen Dunbar Jr., the wide receiver's first career touchdown pass. Elks led 18-10 at the half. Later, more from Ford.
Leading by 8. Here's Ford. Forced back, way back. Now he moves to his left on the run. Trey Ford still going, and now he finds a space on the far side of the field. How about this? Ford to the 50, down to the 40, and will eventually slide. Just brilliant stuff from the Canadian quarterback.
Wow, another incredible run from Ford, this time from 33 yards, and it puts him over the 100-yard rushing mark for the game. It's his first career game with 100 yards on the ground. He had 46 rushing yards alone on that drive, still in the drive. Ford, using his arm now instead, finds Dunbar for the score. Dunbar's second touchdown of the game, and the Elks, well, they lead now 28-13. All looking good for the Elks right in the fourth. Still 28-13. Second and goal for Mayer. Runs to his right. Finds his way in for the score. Mayer's third rushing touchdown of the season. Stamps now pull within 8 points. Then, just over 3 minutes to go. Now 31-20. Tommy Stevens punches it in for the score. So the Stamps going for 2. Mayer converts to Luther Kunavanu at the back of the end zone. That makes it a 3-point game. After the Elks punt, Stamps march down the field. Less than a minute left. Dedrick Mills, bang, touchdown. The Stamps make it all the way back. They win this one 35-31 in an instant classic. Jake Mayer made his 21st consecutive start for Calgary. It's the most consecutive starts by a Calgary QB since Henry Burris had 69 in a row. The Stamps avoid losing 4 straight for the first time since the 2004 season. These two teams will go right back at it next weekend in Edmonton on Saturday.
Chad Kelly playing in his first Labor Day Classic with the Argos taking on the Ticats. Hamilton has dominated Toronto on Labor Day dating back to 2014, winning 7 of the last 8 meetings, 36-14-1 record all time. But it's all double blue to start. Already 10-zip Argos in the first. Chad Kelly connects with DeVaris Daniels in the end zone. Nice. Kelly's first touchdown pass since signing a 3-year extension with Toronto. Now the highest paid player in the CFL. And, well, can you really argue it? No. He's up 17-zip in his first Labor Day Classic, second quarter. James Butler gives the home crowd something to cheer about here. Hurdles the defender on the 12-yard gain. That's so cool. It's got to be so awesome when you do something like that. Oh, wow. Butler coming off back-to-back 100-yard games. Hamilton trails 17-4 at the half. The Ticats creeping back into it in the third. Powell finds Terry Godwin for the 17-yard TD. Hamilton's been outscored 63-29 in their 2 meetings with Toronto so far this year. They make it a 1-score game. Still in the third. Kelly with a quick strike to DeMonte Coxie. Kelly's 18th touchdown pass of the year, 24-10 Argos. Next Argos possession. Kelly caps off the 8-play 67-yard drive with his league-leading 7th rushing touchdown. He has more than any other running back in the league. Again, highest paid guy in the CFL. Meanwhile, before the game, in the hammer, A.J. Ouellette arriving with Thor's hammer in hand. He capped off the game in style.
On a regular kickoff.
Ouellette is passing it into the end zone. Touchdown.
I mean, come on. That's his first career touchdown pass. That's pretty cool, man. 26-yard dime to Dejon Brissett. And with Milt Stegall And Davis Sanchez looking on. Look at that. Hey, boys, you see this? He celebrates with the hammer, sending his teammates to the ground. Willett with 79 rushing yards to go along with his touchdown pass. Toronto wins their second straight Labor Day Classic and improved to 9-1 on the year. Here's Willett with Kate and the panel.
I mean, all game they've been sucking in, so like we knew that the outside run was going to be there. We hit it once with Andrew that set up the pass. So once we hit the outside, we knew that the corner and the boundary half were going to, you know, bite on it, and that was all my read was. And then I just closed my eyes and launched it up there.
Yeah, do you have confidence in that arm?
I did. So I played a little bit of quarterback. It was triple option in high school, but I played a little bit of quarterback, and I had one pass in college. It was a pass interference. So I said I'm 1 for 1 in college, and now 1 for 1 in professional football.
Congratulations on the victory, and thank you for stopping by, and thanks for bringing the hammer to the hammer as well. Jess is the strongest one in the mud.
That panel has the most fun of all panels that I've ever paneled.
They do.
Here's a look at the CFL standings now that Week 13 is in the books. Dating back to last year, the defending champ Argos have won 18 of their last 21 games and 5 straight against Hamilton. Ticats sitting in 3rd place in the East, trying to hold off the Red Blacks. Let's get back to Kate and that super fun panel with more on both games that took place today.
And alongside David Sanchez, Matt Dunnigan, Milt Stiegel, still here at Tim Hortons Field in Hamilton, Ontario. We'll get to the game between the Argonauts and the Tiger Cats in just a moment. But first, we have to talk about the Battle of Alberta and what the Calgary Stampeders particularly did in that 4th quarter. They were down by 15, Ches. They orchestrated a 86-yard drive, and Jake Mayer just looked great in the final 3 minutes of that game.
Stampeders hope this is the Jake Mayer they see the rest of the season, because there's a handful of quarterbacks in this league that have the arm talent, the anticipation, that can carry an offense on their back, and just carve defenses up. And that's what Jake Mayer did in the second half tonight. And through Jake Mayer's struggles early in the season, for me, it was never a lack of talent. It was always decision-making. And I've seen the talent, but I struggle with the decision-making. I'm certain so did Dave Dickinson. But tonight, Jake showed his talent, the anticipation, the throws he made, the corner route to Beggleton, the end, the rocket he threw to Ambles, 40 seconds left in the game to thread that one in there. Let's say this: if Jake plays like this, you can throw Calgary consistently. You can throw Calgary's name in the hat of those teams that got a shot, because that was a special performance by a quarterback.
Yeah, it really was. And you can throw in that running game as well. And Mills and Kadeem Carey, absolutely great combination with the defense, and Predis knocking in field goals like it's nothing. To me, it's just like a recipe for success. And a game that we thought was fairly in hand for the Edmonton Elks on the road, and it was Trey Ford that was lighting it up and showcasing his abilities to make things happen on the football field. And he lit it up. He did. He rushed for 134 yards. And look, since 2015, there's only been 2 quarterbacks to rush for over 100 yards in a ball game. And that's Dustin Crum this year, 103 yards in a win over Winnipeg. And it was Tommy Stevens last year in a win over Saskatchewan. He rushed for 163. And Trey Ford goes for 134 tonight in a losing cause, but he was spectacular, and he's put people on notice. This is something you really can't duplicate during practice throughout the week. You got to experience it for real, and Calgary was having their hands full with number 2. It was a wild mess out there for a while, and somehow Calgary settled down, got some stops when they needed, and it really looked like the Edmonton Elks had another hard time finishing a ball game. And throughout that whole streak, Kate, there's nothing but hearing from Chris Jones and his football team, we got to learn how to finish. Tonight, they didn't get it done.
You know, I agree, though. Trey Ford has at least brought excitement to this team. But when you look at what the Riders did, this is going to be really hard to climb back into the West. All right, let's go to the East now. And we thought maybe the Hamilton Tiger Cats would ride that momentum from the big win over the BC Lions. That didn't really happen when the Toronto Argonauts came to town and won their second straight Labor Day Classic and just imposed their will right from the start of this game, Milt.
And this is clearly the best team in the CFL. But the problem is they don't always play that way. And I was talking to DB coach Will Fields before the game, and he says, Milt, we're the best team. We have the best players. But the problem is those guys don't always keep the light switch on. What I mean, they turned the light switch on in the first half. They were up, first quarter, they were up 17-0. And then that second and third quarter, they turned it off, and they allowed the Hamilton Tiger Cats to get back in the game. And you see they turned it back on in the fourth quarter, scored another 17 points. So, yes, they're able to do that against a team like the Hamilton Tiger Cats. When you play the better teams, when you turn that light switch, you have to to keep it on. You have to keep your foot on the opposing team's neck and put them away early. They didn't do that today. Unfortunately enough, they were able to come back in that third quarter and fourth quarter, into the third quarter, beginning of the fourth quarter, and put it away. A.J. Arlette, once again, great game, 79 yards. And the Thor running back, touchdown. It was a great game, but these guys have to learn to play for 60 minutes.
All I know, Labor Day weekend, once again, did not disappoint. And you know who was a winner this weekend? The fans. Seeing these stadiums packed was unbelievable. So we'll see what happens next weekend. We got the Banjo Bowl coming up, a rematch of the Battle of Alberta. Should be great as we send it back to Sports Center.
Jake Mayer leads the Stamps to a big win. Here he is after the game. New on SC with Claire Hanna.
Well, Jake, what a comeback on this Labor Day Classic. In the first 3 quarters, Edmonton outscored you, but you put up 22 points in that fourth quarter. What changed?
We started playing with good pace. And whenever you get momentum in this league and you start playing with pace, those windows start to get a little bit bigger, slows down the pass rush a little bit. And we just executed when we had to. We had some big third down plays, big catch by Markeith in traffic. That was the big difference on that drive. But I just think we played with pace and played with confidence, and it paid off.
And you speak about windows. There was a very small window to Luther there on that 2-point convert. When you think about all these times when you just overcame a little bit of adversity, what kind of a team effort was this?
It was a big team effort. There was no quit. I think sometimes our frustration just comes from the things that we can control that we don't do well. And you saw that a little bit in the first half. But we just started communicating better, and we just said, hey, man, we got to cut this loose and let this go, man. We can't keep shooting ourselves in the foot. We got to be there for each other. And, man, we were there for each other at the end.
Dave Dickinson said, you guys want to become dominant at home. You've had a couple games where you've just lost by a couple points and also change the narrative. Do you think that this game has started to change the narrative around your team?
I don't know. I don't want to buy too much into narratives, to be honest with you. All I know is we won a really good game at home, and now we got to do it again in 5 days. So the narratives are what they're going to be. That's what's great about this league at times is, there's narratives. There's a way in which you market the game and create buzz, and those narratives are sometimes things that you have to ignore more than anything. And then, like I said, I'm just glad that we were able to pull together. That's a game that we haven't won all year. That down to the wire, game on the line, under 30 seconds, and we did tonight, and it was awesome.
Thank you, Jake, and congratulations.
Thanks, Claire.
All right, no NSC. Here's Reggie Bagleton with Claire Hanna.
Reggie, what an incredible fourth quarter comeback from your team. I was just talking to Jake Mayer. He said that it was about belief, getting things done. How would you put that into words?
Trusting each other. We practice together. Why not go out here and do what we practice, right? Adversity builds character. We've been at it all year. We've been on the other half of games like this. It feels really good to come on top.
Now, you talked about going up against your summer training partner, Stephen Dunbar, wanting to outdo him in certain categories. You got 2 touchdowns tonight. Were you thinking about that in the game?
Every time he caught a touchdown, I kind of gave one of those. I didn't want to smile too hard, but I was happy for him. But at the same time, I'd rather the W.
Now, in the fourth quarter, your defense really eliminated the run for Trey Ford. What can you say about their effort then?
They stepped up. Everybody has a part, and the defense did their part, and we were able to capitalize on the defense stopping him. And we showed up in the second half, and that's what really matters for us to win the game.
Now, you guys talked about, obviously, the energy of the Labor Day Classic, but also what this win against Edmonton means for the standings. What's going to be important 4 days from now when you go to Edmonton?
It ain't going to be easy. Like I said, they're the #1 team in the league. And they're going to come out punching again. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be another dogfight.
Thank you, Reggie.
Thank you.
Rough Riders defensive lineman Pete Robertson has been handed a 1-game suspension for headbutting Zach Caleros during yesterday's Labor Day Classic. The play initially went unpenalized before the command center stepped in to assess a 15-yard penalty for unnecessary roughness. Robertson will miss next week's rematch with the Blue Bombers. He leads the Rough Riders with 5 sacks so far this season.